tonight. You guys are more welcome to comment about anything. And we were talking about Tommy. I just started kind of looking at Tommy a little bit. I got nothing against Tommy. He seems like he's a good dude. But my question is to you, what do you guys know? You know what I mean? And then also, it should be in the description below, but I put my email at the Daveadubson@gmail.com in most of my videos. Otherwise, it's right there for you. Otherwise, you can always text me, 2311. I was just kind of hanging out, kind of being lazy. And I thought, and I seen Sean sent this over, and I said, hey, what the heck? Let's have a little fun with it. And like I said, we can go anywhere you guys want. Throw in your comments. If you jump in here too, let me know that the audio's good. Give me a thumbs up too. I see one thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate the thumbs up. It makes me super happy. Motivates me. Gets me excited. Let's go. So Sean says, hey mate. I love the mate. The UK thing. Hey mate. Hi mate. I sure as heck can. I watched a video of those guys. They can say a lot better. I can't do it as good. Hey mate. Just watched YouTube. I came across this A1 Tommy bloke. I think it's Blake. Is it Blake? Bloke. I can't say it right. Thanks, Rob, for the audio is good. He says, is there that much? Is there? Uh-oh. What's Tommy? What's Mr. Tommy doing? Is he promoting how you're going to make the millions? Honestly, do you make decent money? We'll get to that. Let me highlight that for a second there. Bam. He says, I'm just starting to now put, what is it? It says, I'm just starting to now put still always struggling. But still always struggling to pay bills, etc. Mainly because I've never had any loans or etc. Do you think it would be worth trying to get invested in and try to go big, or just stay safe, small, and make a decent amount? Regards, Sean. Thanks, Sean. Love it. By the way, before we kind of get really long into the video, if things kind of go that way with the live stream, which is always more than welcome, I always appreciate it. It's kind of one of those things I've been tossing around idea, like with they got the Service Titan and Tommy and A1 Garage Door and all that kind of stuff. You guys kind of let me know too. If it's something you're interested in, maybe I'll go to one of their seminars. You know what I mean? I'll check it out, see if I can get an intel on it. If it's something where Tommy wants to reach out to me personally and send me some stuff, that's cool too. I'm all game for that. Like I said, I'll check it out. Like I said, I'm always willing to learn. So let me go back to Sean's a little bit here on the, honestly, do you make decent money? It's a hard one. It's a hard one to say. I kind of look at it like it's all about how smart you are. I don't really mean like smart. I guess it's really because I'm not very smart, but it's hard work. Really, is what it comes down to. How much work are you willing to invest? The time, the sacrifice. In every market, what I've been kind of learning from you guys in a nutshell across the United States of America, right? The prices can vary, and that can be a little deceiving too, because like obviously California, like everything's more expensive: gas, milk, food, rent, housing. So the prices are going to be up too. So it's hard sometimes. You get somebody that jumps in and they kind of go, "Oh, I make $2,000 on a spring job," and you're like, "Okay, is that fair?" Like I don't know. Like there's a guy down the road doing it for $1,000 and you're doing it for $2,000. So it's kind of hard to say. What do you got? Cross limited love, because war we can won, but love cannot be won with war. Oh man, is it boss? I hope so. I hope you're right. Like I said, tell that to the big guys, man. The big guys seem like they don't get it. The big guys that are in charge of these countries, there's something going on. It's fishy. So, I like I said, I really don't know too much about Tommy. I've done a little investigating on it. It's kind of one of those things that it kind of gets into like the Grant Cardone or Oprah or all these things. It's kind of the seminars. I don't think Jerry Springer is around anymore. Whatever happened to Jerry Springer? I always like watching them. People fight it out, right? So it's kind of a, thing where it's like it might be hyped up a little more than what it is. I'm not saying they don't got some nuggets in there. I bet there's some nuggets in there if I had to guess. But it's just one of those things where it's like you might not be as much money as what you think. But like I said, I think with a lot of things, it's the discipline of how you do it. And oh, by the way, if you guys are here, please hit the like button. It just helps bring more people in, more conversation, more fun. But anywho, like I said, it really comes down to a lot of hard work. It all depends on how much time you spend on things, how efficient in the garage door business. It's really about efficiency. You know what I mean, are definitely important. Everybody's important. You know, everybody's important down to the janitor, to who writes the checks, to it's all important, right? So I don't want to disregard that. I might jump onto another email, but I had a couple more on here. But like I said, with Tommy, you guys let me know. Let me know if Tommy's, look, there's 35 of you supposedly, right? Unless you're AI. Let me know you're real. Hit the like button. I see 35. I only see one like. That just seems really odd to me. I think that's government conspiracy, I think. I don't know, but it could be. I believe this is the one that we use for Mike. So I'm addressing a couple here. Hope you're all doing great. Hey, appreciate it, Richard. And like I said, if you guys, for business or anything, you guys got any kind of questions for me, under the garage doors or just anything general business like that, you're more than welcome to comment. Don't be afraid. There's really no stupid question. The only stupid question is not asking a question. That's the failure of life, right? Lesson repeated until lesson learned. Lesson learned is ask questions. You know, and I might not have them, but somebody else might have them in the comment below, or somebody might get back to you, or maybe I have a little knowledge of it. Not much. Okay, let's see what do we got here. We got another one. I think this one was from, I think Rusty sent me this one. I blocked it out. But Rusty got himself, I believe this is his new building or something he's putting up. Look at that, huh? Oh yeah. Look at those garage doors. It's like got a mirror finish to it. Here's the inside. Oh yeah. Look at that. I like that. I like that. How you can look out too. Lets a lot of light in. I'm assuming not in a high crime area. Like it a lot. Oh, we got Richard's guy. He says I get emails from Tommy Mello's company any good? Richard, you're our only one. You're our only one. So like, need some feedback, brother. Like I said, either you can, if for the live stream, at the end of the live stream, tell me how you get hooked up to it too. What do you do? What, was it any good? Do you go to any of the seminars? Give me as much intel as you can. You know what I mean? Like I said, email me, daveadubson@gmail.com, and typically put in the description below. Otherwise, like I said, you can always text me, 231-720-9675. Just remember, my phone's always on silent, so don't get it right away. And you're never going to wake me up because my phone is always on silent. Not to ignore you. It's just, I don't like being interrupted in front of customers. That's why we have the wonderful secretaries. They do such a great job. Such a great job. It says, oh yeah, what building here? What are we building here? Boy, we're hoping to build a community. That's what we are. Is it Dilly Bar 777? Hope you're doing good. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Richard's giving the details here. He says they want me to spend money to go to their seminars. Oh, that's what I was hoping not to hear. I was hoping it was more like, is it, so Richard, like hopefully it's like kind of like a newsletter that like maybe they help you out business-wise or what you should be doing, or is it just constantly come to a seminar, come to a seminar? And then also, Richard, if you know by chance, won't quote you right down to the dollar, do you know by chance what the Tommy, am I saying it right? Mello? Tommy Mello? Bam. If I'm saying it right, for the A1 garage door service, what do they charge? What are they charging? What are they looking for? How much? How much? How many Munos? How many Hondos? I'm just curious. CC, motion, tell them, fam. He says, it don't make money. It don't make sense. Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it. What is Richard got? Richard's got here. He says the only info I need is more commercial logic board wiring and components. I think are we having a little joke here, Richard? Whoa, whoa, God dang, man. Whew, shoot, man. I'm glad I was sitting down. God dang. What's Richard got here? $6,900? $6,900 VIP was $1,500. Woo, doggies, man. I am in the wrong business. God dang. I don't even know what to say, Richard. Man, I don't think I'm having a heart attack. Oh. Wow. Wow. That's a lot of muchos. That's a lot of muchos. Richard, do you know by chance, do they, no wonder. No wonder Tommy's building a house in Utah. Son of a biscuit. On a leave. So I don't even know. I don't even know where to go. So where does Richard? Does he travel around quite a bit for the seminars, or is it kind of like one? Because isn't Tommy in Arizona? I think he's in Arizona. Liftmaster Evan, hello from Canada. Richard, he says, better put on those Tommy, was it Boma's shorts when you go? What? I can't say it. Tony's here. Holy cow, watch out. What's up, boys? What's up, Tony? Hope you guys are doing good. Like I said, don't forget, if you can, hit the like button. Just helps bring more people in. I like more people. More people are more fun. This is, yeah, he says he owns a house in Paradise Valley. But I'm assuming nobody so far here has gone to one of his seminars by chance. I'm not going to bash you if you did. It's, if you went to the $6,900 one, we need to talk, man. We need to be friends. Because broke Dave is only going to the $1,500 one. That's how it's going to roll. Unless Tommy hooks a brother up and shows a real blue-collared garage door guy how it's done. Yes. Let's do it. Yes. No white-collared here. Blue-collared. Blue. 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 What do you think about that, huh? Richard says he does a lot of seminars out of Arizona, and the next one he's putting on is in San Diego. I feel like I keep getting I kind of got something. Obviously, I typed in the old algos, and somehow I got into his stuff. So it keeps popping up on my feed, and I'm like I don't want to see this no more. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't want to see his mug no more. Let's see here. What do we got? Near Scottsdale. Oh, Scottsdale, a lot of money. I've been in Scottsdale, lots of money. I was like, man, I need to go down there and start doing gate. They got lots of money, lots of nice cars. No. Pretty crazy. Like I said, I'd like to know more. My guess is obviously he's on the bandwagon. He's on the bandwagon for seminars. So I want a free seminar. My guess is at the end they're gonna bug you about buying something. You gotta buy this course, and it comes with free frying pans. It's kind of weird to think about that. It's always funny when you're. Isn't it kind of weird how when you're young and dumb, you know what I mean? I was there. I went to a what was it? It was frying pan. I'm pretty sure it was cooking pans. And I tell you what, man, I was so convinced. I remember me and my ex-wife went there. We go to this thing, this seminar they're gonna give you. It wasn't too far away. They're gonna give you a free trip, right? Free trip. Free trip, yeah. You just have to go to the seminar. You don't have to buy it. It's all free, right? Yeah, well, we went there. We didn't bring no money. At the end, we were like, dude, who wants this? The sales only today. Only today. We got convinced. Long story short, we kind of got roped up into it. I finally decided I could find them for half the price. Half the price. They want a lot of money, right? I said, those things show up my doorstep. I'm like, they'll go right back. I said, I'll reject payment, whatever it was. I don't remember how I did it, but they took them back. They didn't want to. So that's why you always got to take your time. Listen to something, give it a couple days to mow it over. There ain't nothing that's not going to be on sale again. So also, in case you guys don't know, he said he sold his company to a private equity. He is just helping out with the marketing. Richard, thank you so much for saying that, because that's what I kind of gathered from, I was watching a podcast, and yeah, that's what I kind of gathered too. It sounded like he was like, I still want them to do good, and the guy was kind of asking him like, well, what's the next phase, and he don't know, blah 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 blah, and I thought, I know, some more seminars, and something else. I don't know what. Yeah. So what's up, Tony's got on there? So Richard, you got a lot of good intel on this. So Evan, he says, finally gave up on the Kia. He says, looking at getting a Trailblazer. Evan, let me know what year Trailblazer you're looking at. I don't know what to think about the Trailblazers. My uncle's got one. My uncle's pretty hard on things, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of almost like embarrassing. I'm kind of embarrassed to even say this, but like, I always remember my uncle. My uncle's a good man. He's just one of those guys, and he always told me, he says, I'm like, why don't you truck? I don't want a truck. Get a truck. He goes, I can reach everything in the Trailblazer. Open up a door. I can reach everything. I don't have to climb inside. And I was like, especially when I was younger, in my late 20s, early 30s,
Yeah, no big deal. Just climb up in there, no big deal.
And as I've gotten older, I've realized I'm like, I don't like climbing up in things. I've had some friends that have had knee problems now. It's more effort. It's so as little as you got to go in is kind of the better. So that's why I was just wondering, because I think those skinnier Trailblazers, I don't really make those too many of those things, were kind of a flop. I had a Trailblazer. No, I know what it is. Trailblazer is that different model. I had a Blazer. Sorry, I had a Blazer. And man, that thing fell apart. Just couldn't believe. Now, I know they're a little more money, but I hear the Toyota 4Runners are just naturally aspirated. Trailblazers, though, seem, like I said, to kind of somewhat hold up. I don't know. Let me know. What do we got? Jesse's got, haven't been to his seminars. I operate a small garage door business in Arizona. Ooh. So Jesse, have you ever, he says, my employees used to work for A1. Really? Well, come on, Jesse. We're all ears here, baby. Tell us some of the scoops. What's up, Rusty? Rusty, you have to let me know. This is your place, right, Rusty? I blocked out your stuff, I believe, which is good. This is your joint. Here, I'll do this one. You'll know what I blocked it out a couple days ago, and then I haven't done a video, and then it's like, ew. It's like, but that's your place, right, Rusty? Is that going to be your new building? My employee used to work A1, so like, why did he leave A1? Like, what's the scoop, man? Give us the scoop. We want the goods. They charge $70 to upgrade to a steel bearing. Very interesting. Jesse, what do we mean? They charge $70 to upgrade to a steel bearing, garage door roller bearing, or center bearing instead of a plastic puck for the torsion tube. $70, no holla. Message deleted by well, thanks, Tony. He always goes in there and cleans it up. Tony's a good dude. According to my employee, says, how do I say your name? Is it Die? What does that mean? What's Die mean? Or is it Dave? What are you talking about? What you talking about? Evan, Jesse Clark, he says he's booted. It looks like. I didn't see it. It's naughty. Probably just got to go, Tony. Tony's already on him. So great moderators. They do such a good job. Thank you guys. And what was I going to say here? Sorry. Pumping up the brand, which says, but one thing that I think it's very important, he says, that they are doing is they're training lots of techs the correct way. I like that. I like that. That's a good thing. It's always good to have training, man. Training is good. Training is good. Jesse says blocked him for a little bit. Just as Tony Mello says, I'm looking at getting either a 2024 or 2025 for an service on R1RX if I'm lucky. He says a Trailblazer with the inline 6 are solid, I've heard. So I finally heard it. You ever feel like you kind of like watch something? You're like, I don't know if you always feel like me, but I always feel like I'm crazy. Like I have these weird theories in my head and I'm like, I don't ever hear nobody talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it and try to bring it to the surface, right? Some of you do, some of you don't. Watch Scotty Kimler. I think he's a great automotive. He's an old dude, older. He's not super old, but he's an old dude. He's a great dude. I think he's got great information. I pick and choose certain things I like to watch about him. He's a big automotive guy. You should watch him. I think he's got like over 6 million subscribers. Great dude. Genuine too. That's what I like. He's not a sold out whatever. And he was telling me somebody bought, I think it was either Honda or Toyota. I think it was a 2024. They're having problems. It's revving up. It's doing all these weird things. And he was the first one I heard that, and I kept thinking this all the time in my head with all these problems we were having, right? He said when the corona, what is going on, right? 2019, anything after kind of went kapoof. He says the quality standards, he even believes, and he's a big Toyota guy, said with Toyota, Honda, the quality's gone down. They basically had to lift up their standards, right? Not have their standards so high, they had to lower standards. And I thought, man, I think that's true. So I think GM, they all have problems. I'm scared for anything that's new. I honestly am. I still like that theory sometimes. Buy whatever's been the last model. I feel like I thought it was for like maybe 5 or 10 years, because then there's going to be a bunch of research on it, right? Anything you get new, you got to watch a little bit. Not saying new, this is one of those things. It all depends on what you're going to do. You know what I mean? You're going to lease it? Hell yeah, just go for it. But I've been hearing even like these people, these brand new Toyota Tundras, they're having engine problems. I think Toyota's going to recall all of them, 100,000 plus or something like that, and change out. We don't know if they're going to be short blocks or long blocks yet. I just went, oh my gosh. I couldn't even imagine having that. And the problems and taking this thing back in. I mean, these service centers are, you ever go to these places, these dealerships now? I mean, the service is normally not the best. And they got people changing all the time and the technicians. And I mean, I'd be so upset to buy a brand new vehicle, to have the whole thing tore apart, because it's just never built the same as it was in a factory. So it's just something to think about. Not to say no, just something to think about. So if it was me, I'd probably go with a Toyota 4Runner. It's going to be more money though, but you get what you pay for. If I was going to do an SUV, that's just the first one on top of my head. Or I'd find an older one, because I think they're just built better than some of the, what am I trying to think of? But they do work. The Trailblazers are pretty decent. I just don't know about the newer ones. I think my uncle's is like a 07, 08, 12, somewhere in there. Patrick's here. Patrick, you never answered me. You gotta text me, dude. You gotta be like, did you ever get those openers? I thought you had 2 or 3 or 4 openers lined up, and you didn't get them installed yet, or something like that, or did they just kind of go off to the ferry, or do you need help, or did you get them installed? What's the story, man? Spill the beans. Jesse Clark, he says A1 has a goal of minimum of 1,200 ticket per job. Yeah. Well, we got to talk to Rusty, because Rusty knows how to get that. He can make that happen in like 3 or 4 or 5 jobs. Right, Rusty? Was Rusty in 405? Like per service call or something like that? Get the big money. Center bearing, he says center bearing over standard plastic. Thanks for clarifying that. Oh no, the video's glitchy tonight? Maybe I got to pull off the Wi-Fi. Let me know if it keeps going, Rich. I'll see if I can change it up. Wi-Fi is horrible. Something's going on. I tried to get the other phone so I could do the phone like the way everybody likes. They like it this way. And I couldn't do it on this. It just wouldn't let me. I couldn't link this one up. I'm going to have the Wifetron figure it. Tony says, what's up, Rich B? What's up, Tony? That's right. Let's see here. 2... I know. Rich is right, man. He says too many electronics in the new vehicles. I tell you what, besides like service calls and stuff like that, like I'm honestly, seriously thinking about like, I don't mind the Nissan's been pretty good. You know, some of these like, there's just some good models out there, right? Some of the Toyotas and some of the Nissans and, you know, but like, I'm just going to go with a Chevy square body. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go with an old 350 Chevy. You know, the problem is, like, I was watching one with the Toyota Tundra, with the older models anyways. They got the starter, like, under the manifold. And I'm like, why would they put a starter under the manifold? I don't know if it's really that good of an idea. It seems like you get a lot of heat on it. I guess it keeps it out of the elements and oil and stuff like that, if you got an oil leak. But I'm just like, goodness gracious. We can't even, we're kind of getting away from the core fundamentals here. And the fact that we can't work on it, and then we're so dependent on these, like, I don't know about you guys, but the technicians have really gone downhill, at least in the surrounding areas I have. It's like either they make it really inconvenient, either it's pretty pricey, or it's like they do the work, I have to redo the work. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, it's getting nutty. So I agree, the electronics are goofy. It's Mikey. GM lifter problem. Ooh. Mikey might be something here. That's right. If they're doing that fuel active management, that has been a flipping nightmare where they shut the cylinders down. Big problems, man. So you got to make sure you get the, you know, that's even if you can do it, if it doesn't like void the warranty or something, you got to get it where you deactivate that stuff. You got to watch it, man. So it's getting tough. Even, you know, maybe some of you guys know, maybe so. Let's go for a walk, shall we? We can go outside, right? We can get a little fresh air. It's still light out. I'll show you because they're here. They're both here today. Oh, it's so nice out. We had older Chevy vans. It was time to upgrade because they got, you know, these are both. Then the other ones here, you know, I don't know. Now you got to change the ball. I don't know. It's not so bad. It's just I just like the front end of that one better than I do this one. But anyways, these are both 17s, right? I believe these are known to have the transmission problems. I hear it's anywhere from 80 to 120,000. It's something to do with the torque converter that they got hot when they welded them on there. They made like hot spots. They're a little bit raised, and so what they do is they'll burn up the torque converter in them. I don't know if it's so much as throwing shrapnel through and it kind of destroys the whole transmission, but unfortunately, it's not good. And imagine, right? Since those are a different transmission, those transmissions cost more money. So I think they've got problems going on right now. Anything with these turbochargers or, you know, you know what I mean? It's just, you got to see how the motor's built. Like some of those Fords right now, what are they doing? Like the oil, and that scares me. They got their oil pump. Uh, very, very. You can go to LTE. It's so weird. I never had it show red before like this, and it says very bad connection. Okay. Oh no, somebody's messaged me saying you're totally off right now. What the fudge? Are we back? I turned it off the Wi-Fi. This is just insane to me. I think it's time for the internet guy to come out. But thank you. I seen a message come through. I don't know who did it, but thanks for the text. Let me know. I'm basically offline. You didn't miss much. Let me know. I'm basically offline. You didn't miss much. I was just drinking the good stuff. Okay, so Richard, he says, with the price of new trucks, it's almost worth buying an F-250 extended van. Put a brand new engine and transmission and suspension, and you're good for another 200,000. Could be true. Could be true. Now we got to watch though, because I believe, right, some of the Fords, I forget which one it was. Was it the 3-valve, the 5.4 Triton or whatever? You know, they had the phaser problems in the front of the motors. I've never experienced it. I don't know if it's just because we're normally really good on oil changes. We still do oil changes every 3,000 miles. It's just cheap insurance. You know what I mean? But I totally agree with Richard. Like I said, you could probably buy a Chevy. You could probably buy a Ford. You can put a lot of money, you know. And here's the thing. Like I remember years ago, I was driving a lot. We were doing a lot of lows, details, all this stuff. Gas prices were going up. And I told myself, I was like, I gotta get a brand new truck. It's like, I gotta get me a Ford EcoBoost. When they first came out, right? Because they got supposedly such good gas mileage. And I want to tell you this to inspire you, if you're thinking this way, like I was when I was a young lad, sit down and do the numbers, right? Sit down and do the math and crunch it hard, because numbers don't lie unless you do them wrong, but they won't lie to you. And I sat down, I put my numbers in, and I remember I had to still drive 100 more miles. Oh, by the way, thanks. We got up to 9 likes too. Thank you guys. So we got up to, I still had to put another 100 miles on a day from what I was averaging, how far I was traveling for the day, to make that truck break even, just to break even for it to be worth the money. That's if it still, you know, was getting the gas mileage that they said it was going to. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to do that? Like, just drive around? Hey, honey, I'm not going to be home today. I'll be home in a couple hours. I got to put a couple 100 more miles on. Just drive around. Make this truck worth it. And that blew my mind when I thought, sometimes you got to realize, you know, when you micromanage things a little bit in your head, right? You look at gas prices every day and you go, and every time you put it in your tank and you go, oh my gosh, you know, it's 40, it's 60, it's 120, it's $200, whatever you got, a diesel. You got to realize sometimes you got to think about it and go, hey man, my truck's paid off. Or hey man, my truck's a very low payment. Or my truck's very low maintenance. You know, and if I go get into something, you know, because that's the thing, is your time. Now I screwed up one time. I remember I bought the Ford 6.4 Power Stroke. Now mind you, you know, I came from a Cummins, right? I had 2 Cummins in my life. Those trucks really didn't have no problem. They seemed like they're a little underpowered for my liking, for high end. Very torquey though, a low end. But diesels at the time, right? You know, the 99, 2001, diesels last forever. So to me, all the diesels are the same. They all last. So I didn't do my homework, bought that 6.4. The guy I bought it from was kind of almost like a salesman a little bit. He's a slick dude. And I remember him just kind of telling me, saying, you know, if you're going to keep this truck for a long time, he goes, I would consider doing deletes on it. And I was like, okay. Deletes? Yeah. Okay. Had no clue what he was talking about. I'm like, yeah, I'll probably do that. You know, I was planning on keeping this truck for a super long time. First day I drive the truck home. I get it from, gosh, what is it? 2 or 3 hours away over in like Detroit, Michigan. And I'm driving this thing home, and guess what? Alternator light comes on. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You know, I start doing the research, right? Some have one, some have 2 alternators. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if it's 2 alternators, come to find out it's a little wire. Anyways, this truck was so problematic, man. I tell you what, it burned me bad because not also do I have to pay full coverage on this truck. I got this truck now in the shop, right? I'm making a truck payment. This truck's not making me no money. It's sitting in the shop. It sat in the month in the shop for was about a month and a week or 2, getting worked on, because then it finally eventually, I don't know, I've had it for 20, 30,000 miles, right? It blew a head gasket at 160. No, thank you. No. That's why, unless I'm pulling every day, I love the diesels. But this is just for me, for business, you know, and depending on what you buy, if you buy the older stuff that doesn't have the emissions, but the stuff that has emissions, whew, man, good luck. Have you been watching this stuff? I mean, the Power Stroke guy, right? PowerStrokeHelp.com, the guy, gosh, I can't think of his name. He passed away. Good dude. He showed once, right? He said, look at the new 6.7 Power Strokes. He took a motor and he's had a 7.3 Ford Power Stroke. He goes, this truck's got double the mileage of this truck, right? So the 6.7, let's say it had 100,000. The 7.3 had 200,000. He opens up the motor. He says, you can still see the cross hatches on here in the cylinder walls. The 6.7, can't see them. Because you know why that is? He goes, because you're sucking in exhaust. Up the intake on these new ones, I have. I did on my 6.4. Made me one, man. Had so much soot in there. And he said, you're sucking in that exhaust. And he says, that's abrasive. And that's washing out or basically sanding your cylinder walls. And I'm like, oh. You know, then mind you, some of these, I don't know if like the Trailblazers or anything like that. I noticed the Camry had a problem, right? Toyota Camrys for a couple of years, 2, 3 years. There was a certain year they used low compression piston rings because they go faster, right? They basically less consume gas, they get higher miles per gallon. But the problem was they get stuck, right? And they don't seal anymore. And then the car started consuming oil, it burns oil. Really not much you can do except tear the motor down. So there's all these little things, man, that add up. That's why sometimes I'm like, the best advice I ever had a guy tell me once, he says, always buy the last year a car manufacturer made something, you know, at least a 10-year run or something like that, so you can do the research and go online. But this new stuff, it's so easy to get into the new stuff. Look at the electrical fad, right? These electric cars, right? And all the problems. Anybody got a Tesla? Anybody got Tesla? Anybody got Tesla? Tell us the problems you're having. Or tell us the problems you're not having. I smell last thought. I don't know. Was it cabbage? Oh, video is freezing. Sorry, Rusty. Is it better now? We're on LTE. If it goes to 5G, we're probably done for, baby. This is Davey says I can hit 1,200 on 2 spring jobs or 1 opener. See, I told you Rusty can do it. Rich B says mechanic now are parts changers. Yes. He says a good mechanic needs good background in wiring. Most problems are broke wires and bad grounds. Whew. Man, you nailed that, Rich. There is no doubt about that. It's really tough because they're going through a lot of people. Some of even the mechanic shops that I've seen, just everywhere. You know what I mean? Everywhere. It could be McDonald's. It can be grocery stores. It can be auto repair shops. They're just turning through people, man. And it's not good. We just don't, you know, one thing I always feel like we're missing good stewards. We don't have stewards anymore. You know how many extra people there used to be around when I was like going to school? Just a guy out there picking the weeds, a guy out mowing the grass, a guy washing a window. You know, now it's like everything is just either like they have to subcontract it out. They find either the cheapest help they can. They can't find help at all. They don't do it at all. You know, it's just gotten so wonky now, and everything's down to so much crunching the pennies that we just don't have good stewards anymore. You know, it's really sad. But a lot of these shops too, and I don't know exactly what the solution is in a sense. You know, it would help a lot if aka government, would start working on the inflation, right? Because inflation's really a tax and people just don't know it. And I don't know exactly what they got to do, but like I said, it's really scary sometimes the times that we're in, because if they lower the interest rates, I don't know if that's going to blow up inflation more, and now that everybody's gotten that cheap fix, right? That cheap fix in their arm, it's like they just keep wanting it more and more. And as much as I don't want it to, I think it needs to go up. It needs to go up even higher. Yeah, it needs to crush, kind of really bring some of the stuff down. She says, charge the spring today, 2 bearings and a set of cables and 2 sheaves. He says on rear mount torsion set, up 9, it was 9x6'9". Ooh, nice. 667. Nice. Liftmaster Evan, he says the Wi-Fi is lagging. Thanks, Obama. I know, man. I'm telling you, the internet really is like, I don't believe it. Anytime I see 5G, you remember how like when we went from like, what was it, like 3G to 4G? Like that felt like an improvement. Like, wow, like this is pretty sweet. Like it works really good. It works better. Like you were excited for it. Every time I see 5G, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be Kyle Poopy. You know what I mean? Like it's sad. It's sad. I think I seem like even somebody that was doing I don't know the whole story on them, right? They're doing what is the Starlink that the Elon Musk made or whatever. Those things like aren't working as good as what I've been hearing from people. I don't know if they like detuned it or what they did, you know what I mean? But people at first, when I hear it, they're like, they're great. And it's like the same people, right? And now they're like, it's not working as great as it used to. And I'm like, yeah, well, I had 4G that worked just fine to me. I'd rather have 4G than 5G. Because when I see 5G, I'm like, here we go. I go load a video or something, watch a video myself, and it's like, it's lagging. It's like I'm sitting there going, come on. Where I go into the LTE or 4G, and I'm like, oh, it's right there. Boom, fires up. You're back on, Tony says. Back on. Oh, sweet. Like I said, it just took me to jump off the Wi-Fi. You know what's probably really going on? I'll tell you the real truth. If anybody can help me, like you can send me an email, you can do it in the comments. I don't really care. We're getting fiber optics through our town, right? My guess is, right, you know how it is, right? It's like your computer starts getting slower, your phone starts getting slower. What are they really trying to do, right? They're trying to get you to buy a new device, right? You're not going to keep cleaning the computer out or fixing your phone. Finally you get so upset, you're like, honey, I can't live with this anymore. This thing's got to go. I got to get a new $1,200, $15, $16 billion phone. You know what I mean? So who's to say that with now the fiber optics that are running through the town, that they're not, you really should improve, right? That internet doesn't work as good. It used to work fine, but we turned it down a little bit just to add a little bit of problems. Richard, he says, once you figure out what kind of truck you buy, you should have to look at the payload, because a fully loaded garage door truck is gonna have about 1,800 pounds worth of parts. Man, isn't that the truth, man? That's why, like, we got the cutaway van, and it don't pull so good. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little squirrely. Like, I'd really like to try a dually. It is amazing. So Richard's right. It's amazing, because whatever you think you're going to kind of add, typically you add, another 10, 20, 30% more. You know what I mean? It just happens because all of a sudden you especially if you're self-employed, right? Because your mind's always like, I don't want to be left without. So next time you forget something, right? Certain spring, a torsion tube, a solid shaft, especially like if you're like Uncle Dave with residential commercial is a real bear. So it's almost like you want to have blow torches, even the little kit of blow torches, solid shaft. You got to have the 3-inch rollers, long stem. You got to have a whole set of them. You got to have long stem 2-inch rollers. The list goes on and on and on. Struts, you know, because you're going to the unknown, and you'd rather hope they can fix it while you're there because, you know, time's money. So you're hoping that you can get it all done, get her done in one swing. I appreciate the comments. Thank you. Said we're almost to 10 likes. All it takes is one more person to click it. Hey, maybe we will make a new friend. But anyways, I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting. It's good. It's fun. It's entertaining. Oh, no. Did you guys ever yell at the guy in front of a customer's? Ooh, Tristan says. So, Tristan, I'll give you a little example. I would never do that, right? I'm a very honorable man. I believe we're adults. And I think there is times, you know, that you do have to have a conversation with somebody. And obviously you do that. I'm even as funny. Are any of you guys like this? Comment below. Let me know. I'm funny like this. Like, I don't say nothing. My wife will do it sometimes. I've had workers with me that don't really know the lingo yet, you know, the language. Like when we're pulling out of a customer's driveway, I literally, like, I don't say nothing. I'll just be like, bye, have a nice day, right? And I wait until I even get down the road. I'm weird like that because I'll sit there and I'm like, I don't know if they know the neighbors. And some people, you know how it is, right? You've seen somebody outside of a car pointing, or they say something like, you know what I mean? The body language. So I always wait. I'll wait till I'm down the road around the curb a little bit, you know what I mean? Around the corner before I'm like, hey man, that customer, woo, man, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. Yeah, boy, she this or that. Did you see that? Oh man. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I don't do any of that in front of the customer. I don't tell the workers. I don't do no bad, nothing bad. Nothing bad till we're around the corner. We go for lunch. We do something. Hey, we got to have a little talk. We got to talk about something. But no, I don't think you should really, unless it's like a safety or something, but you don't really disrespect them unless it's like in the moment that you're like, dude, you don't ever stick your finger where the cable and the drum meet. You know what I mean? Like in more of a scared tactic too. No, I agree. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like I said, I think it's embarrassing. It's one thing when you're one-on-one with somebody because there's nobody, you know, you keep it real, but I don't, you know, nah. See, like I've always done, like even my kids, instead of yelling at them so much in front of their friends, right? I tell them, I say, let's go outside. And I remember I had a little blowback from a family member, I won't say who, and I had a screaming kid, right? You know how that goes if you got kids. And the kid was misbehaving. And I said, come on, we're outside. And I remember a family member said, no, you're not doing it. No. We ain't going to freeze to death. We're not going to be out there that long. But obviously you're looking for attention, and we're going to go outside, and you can find some attention out there. And then you have the talk, right? And it's amazing how the attitude changes when there's nobody around, and you know what I mean? It's one-on-one while you're full attention, right? Not good for business, Tristan said, or Tony says, sorry. Unless he dropped a wrench on a really nice car, something in front. I could kind of agree with that one, you know, for Tony. You know? And Tony and everybody else would agree. We always try. We try like the Dickens to get the cars out of there. Get the cars out of the garage if you can, people. We all know that. But it's one of those things I like to bring it up because, man, if you can, get that car out of there, because I've had it before. You ever have it where you're concentrating so hard, it's like you almost start fumbling? Where I had a winding bar one time. I don't know how it slipped on my hand. It was heading right to the back windshield, and I caught it, and I'm like that guy. What's that? There's that black guy in Terminator, right? When he's got the switch and he got shot, and he's like, yeah, that's what I was doing, holding on the bar. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, and I normally don't fumble like that, but here's a good sales pitch for Tony. If you had a Surewinder, that wouldn't be a problem. That's why for $19.99, 3 easy payments, you got to get yourself a Surewinder. Contact Tony for more details. Some do. What a cool name. Do you talk about Mr. Mello yet? I did at the beginning. We talked about him a little bit. So scroll forward to the beginning. If you got any details or you want to jump in or you got any information, I was kind of reaching out. I was kind of reaching out to be like, hey, what is this guy like? What does people got a pulse on him? What's his motive? What's he got? Like, I don't even know if he has kids. I think he's married. I don't know for sure. I don't really know many details on him. Rusty says, Mello reminds me of the Garage Door Line University guy. I haven't seen that guy. You know, has he been posting still? I haven't seen him post anything lately that I know of, but I don't really scour for him. But it does make you wonder. I look at it and I go, man, if you guys are really struggling, for one, my advice is always free. There's a great community of guys here that I literally, like, every day I'm always texting between guys to get questions or like, how would you answer this? So it's free here. Uncle Dave's free, and like I said, if you need help or something and the time allows it, hey, I'll come down, I'll help you, whatever you need. But like I said, most of the time it takes really just getting out there, get your hands dirty, just start doing something, do something small, take baby steps, and just start one thing after another, and you'll just start getting more and more and more. That's how I did it. Like I said, I never wired up a garage door opener. My business partner did it for years, and then when the economy tanked out, Uncle Dave had to step in because we had a customer not pay us $10,000. And when you're a small business, in 2008, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, And so I had to wire. I remember wiring them up thinking they're going to explode. Like, I'm going to push the button and it's going to zap. And I'm like, I can't afford for this opener to die. It's $200, And if it does, it's going to be everything. I can't afford another one. Evan says, to your point, he says about not being able to find people to, it says dirt jobs. Chick-fil-A has robot delivery, carts, and drive to person's houses or whatever they are ordering from. So I did see a little glimpse of that. I don't know where that was at, what city or state that was in. So I don't know if that was kind of like a promotion or they really are doing it. Comment, but I did see that little white box, the Chick-fil-A. I really thought the drones are going to be, I don't doubt that they'll come in the future, but I tell you what, the drones, when you're on the other side, sometimes you can see why, like, I can only imagine some of the problems that Amazon goes through or UPS. And what did I order? I ordered something. I forget what it was. It was really small. And I kept thinking, I was thinking Amazon probably hates things like this. It's so small. They rather just send it in the UPS, right in the mail, because it'll fit in a mailbox. But that's something right there that like a drone could easily carry. I forget what it was. I feel like it was a hose or something, a clamp or something. I forget. But there's such little things that you could do, and they could speed up the delivery, right? So it'll probably eventually one day come, But even you think about for what it costs, right? Well, somebody will whack it. Yeah, but if they lose a drone, you know how much an employee costs sometimes? It doesn't show up, or you got to put them in a truck. The liability, accidents, insurance, it adds up. Insurance is getting crazy. I talked to a couple more people today. One was a 70-year-old guy. I think his house insurance, I think it was for the year. It used to be like $800. Now it's went to $1,200. And he was saying the Florida people, man, he said, I think I don't know what kind of place he had or anything, but it was like $5,600. It went up quite a bit for his buddy's house. That stuff scares me. That's the stuff that really scares me. So there you go, Dave. You got 10. Oh, man. Shoot, Tony. We got 13, buddy. We're doing great. So appreciate the likes. Thank you, guys. I forgot to hit it. He says, when I got on. Oh, man, I was going to dig through. I forgot to tell you. I can find out who's doing it. No, I'm just joking. I can't see that. I'd be driving down and we'd be having us a spring turner and a Surewinder fight, which we got to do sometime, Tony. I'm starting to feel up to it. Hopefully maybe we'll get the weather a little cooler and you get a job you like, that's a couple doors or a door we can kind of test them on, because I still want to do that. I think the spring turner, I don't think any of the guys have used it, honestly. I think it's just been sitting here. Oh, it's sad. It's so sad. Just sitting there. I'm sorry. I'm messed up bad. I'm so sorry. Dun, 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 dun. Has been thinking about Starlink. He says, but haven't pulled the trigger. 500 for equipment and 120 a month. Rich, make sure you do your homework on it, man. Like I said, it seemed like I seen, I don't know, probably like 2 or 3 people I kind of follow, and they were like, man, this is great. They're like truck drivers and stuff like that. And then it was like, man, this thing isn't working worth a crap, you know? So I'm like, I don't know if something got detuned. And then I heard, it seemed like I read like a post or something that like it was, you know, of course it's probably funded by the government, but it was like those things you see, the stars or something, like wasn't really them or something. It's something else. I don't know. It just makes me a little nervous. So I hate for anybody to spend the money and then it doesn't perform like it should. But I understand if you got satellite and stuff like that, that stuff's kind of hard to work with. What's Tony Guy says, you got to watch it when you're in the garage. He says a lot of garages have cameras. Ooh, that's a good one, Tony. I've noticed on shelves. That's a good one. Tony's exactly right. I don't search hardcore for them, you know, because I think that always looks kind of suspicious, anyways. But I always kind of keep a scan out for them. And that's why I also, when you're in people's garages or even on their property, because those ring cameras, right? Those ring cameras are insane. Ring cameras are nuts. How they like pick up, like you've seen them all, the tires going across the road, or somebody across the road did something, or a vehicle sliding down the road because it's icy out. I don't even understand them. Like, I don't understand those things are just recording all the time. Like, I mean, I got trail cams and deer cams that don't even pick up as well as these darn things. And they're like picking up things, you know, like I see people on like Facebook even saying, hey, you know, can somebody check out the ring cam? And I'm thinking, why would they check out the ring cam? And I go, well, maybe they should, because the things seem like they're always recording. And I know those things are a little goofy. Some people, you know, they're recording everything you do, but not that it's, you know, everything's recording. We're all being tracked, you know. They say we're free, but we're really slaves. Dude, got something, just gonna keep it under the keep it for the truck. You know what I mean? Go out there and go punch the dash a few times. But when you're out there, man, it's like I always tell my kids, everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. I'm always watching. I'm still thinking about, I had to go to McDonald's. I'm sorry. I don't like going to McDonald's. My one kid loves it. I had to go to McDonald's. And there's this one particular one that there's a really nice girl I really wish I had some position for her, because I'm like, man, she is a rock star. And it's like, she's above the average. Smile, nice, upbeat, just gives you the best customer service you can ever ask for. And it's like, man, you don't belong here, because everybody else is just this job sucks. You know what I mean? Instead of changing, because it's like that law of attraction. You know, what you put out is what you get back. It's really true. And I think about it all the time, you know, and I've been at places and I'm sitting there and I'm going, you know, if you probably had a better attitude, like there's better things that are going to come. You're going to find better men and women in your life. You're going to attract, you know, you're going to elevate to a higher standard, basically. Rusty says, Tony, also no peeing in people's driveways because there are cameras everywhere. I gotta bring up the one. Some of you guys have heard it, I'm sure. Some of you haven't, right? I never, when I was doing the business, right, more hardcore into it, I never got much time to go hunting with my dad. It just didn't happen. Every time I would try to go, and it's not, I'm always gunning for it. It's just everything collides at that time of the year. It really does, especially when you're in business. You know, the weather's changing, people are getting sick. Everybody wants to get their stuff done now before it starts snowing and getting the weather's changing. And I remember I'm up there, I'm enjoying myself. And this is one of the things, maybe this will help somebody, where, you know, when you do certain things, you make a voicemail. You make a voicemail. Hi, this is Dave with Affordable Door and Gates. You know, we will be closed or whatever. We're going to be gone. Blah, 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 whatever, right? Anyways, I was getting something in the after hours. I think I got this guy that calls me. I mean, this guy's chewing me out, man. He's like, I need somebody You know, like, mind you, this is on like a Saturday. He's like, in the evening, he says, I need somebody to come to my house right now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, like, what's going on? I'm thinking broken spring or something. He goes, I think it was a bottle. He goes, I got a bottle here and it's got pee in it. And so, of course, you go through like the normal, like, is it Mountain Dew? Or, it's not pop. I know, did you taste it? Because I don't believe you. You taste it. And but anyways, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm way up north. I'm like, you're like 2 hours away. And then it's another 2 hour. It's not going to happen. Like, I will send somebody out Monday and we'll handle it. Like, you don't have to touch it or whatever. Like, that's gross. And I get like, I don't know if you've had other contractors here. I don't know for sure if this was my guy. Like, I always thought it was funny because my dad in the background help or something. He says, did you tell him, he says, to look in the bushes? He says, where they took a crap. And I said, that's a good one. I said, I should have told him that. But that's how people can really ruin things. Yes, you don't want to do that. I still come across them once in a while. I see them around. They're gross. You got to throw them away. I'm typically the type that if I have to use a bottle, I find like the side of the road or a dead end or something, and like I dump that puppy out so it's empty at least. And obviously the bottle needs to go in the garbage still, but it's better than at least being full in case it gets punctured or, you know what I mean? Like one guy that used to work here, he'd like carry a milk jug and like he'd like keep going in it, and I just like, no, I'm good. Here's a tip for you though. If you do have to, and you guys, maybe some of your wives, they or yourself, I guess, you buy those the scented beads that go in your wash machine. They got the big top, right? Because you need the big top, right, for a big boy. But what's nice about it is you don't miss, and there's a nice fragrance for a few minutes while the air is escaping is what I'm trying to say. So if your wife's throwing those away, keep those. So my wife goes through them quite a bit. So I every time you want one, hell yeah, got it. I need another one for the work van. I put it in there because you just never know when it's gonna hit. And if you can, get yourself a lid. Well, this is if you got a van, and get yourself a lid for a bucket, or just have a bucket for code red, because sometimes Taco Bell, man, it gets you. Tony says you're funny, Dave. I'm just a little bit pumped tonight. I'm excited. Patrick's guy says, nah, I wasn't able to do those openers. Oh, Patrick, come on, man. Get one lined up. Get one lined up. We'll do one together. Got an iPhone? We'll do FaceTime. Put me in the corner. Put me in the corner. Put Uncle Dave in the corner. I'll be quiet. I won't say bad things. I won't even pee in a cup. Oh, Tony says, sure, Rusty says, I do that all the time in a cup unless it's raining. LOL. Richard says, Facebook Tech Talk is good info. Oh. Richard, you should share or send them to me. If you, like I said, either email me, like anything that if you got a few, or just put them in here. The thing is, if you put them in here in the live, they typically seem like they don't get saved. That nobody sees the comments unless somebody comments after the video. So you can comment after the video, which would be cool. Otherwise, the Daveadubson at gmail.com, which I typically have in the description. I think it's in the description below this one. Or send me a text of something that you do. The 231-720-9675 is my cell. Send me a text on it. Because I thought about that. I don't have any that I joined. I thought maybe I'll do a couple to see what's out there. I did one a long time ago through, I forget what it was through. It was through something. I had to turn it off at one point or something. I forget how it was working. I don't remember what it was even through. It's on this phone. It's on my old phone. Hey, Dave, going and doing a commercial spring job at my cousin's house. Need to come down. He says we can put the winder up against the spring turner. Heck yeah, the sure winder. Should, man, we should. I want to come down. I got to get down there and see my boy Josh too. Like I said, I think he was doing an opener. Up with him. Well, I got to check up with him, see how he's been doing. make sure he's still living the dream. Rusty says, Tony, my trick is I have double cab opener. He says, open the back door and front door and go in between. Did I miss something on that? I'm sorry if I did. I think, was it Rusty that sent me the picture? I think Rusty sent me a picture of one. Did I send the picture? I don't think I have it here though. No, I think Rusty sent me a couple of cool pictures of a dinosaur and like back of the van. I get set up. It's pretty cool. I'll probably do a video on it, I think, so I can show the pictures. Says Tony says, when I'm driving the trucks, Rusty says I do the same thing. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, open the back door, front. Yep. Okay, I'm a little slow. I got it. Get yourself a van, a creeper van. Live on, was Chris Farley said, down by the river? In a van, down by the river. That's why I like I said, I only had it happen once. And I thought of a person. I don't know if anybody ever seen that video where it was a UPS or a FedEx driver. They pulled in a cul-de-sac and really defecated, right? They on the side of the road right there, like in somebody's driveway, and somebody's like, I just don't know how they could do this. And I was the same. I was like, that is pretty gross. Like, that is gross. And then when it hit me is when the COVID, the 19 was going on. And there's no restaurants. You can't go in the party stores, the grocery or the gas stations. And man, I was cutting through town and it hit me like a freight train. And I mean, I was like, oh, and it was like, I'm going to go in my pants. Like, I'm literally it's going to be on the seat. It's going to be on my, and I'm thinking, the hell with that. Like, I'm pulling off the side of the road. Like, I'm leaning up against this tire well here or whatever inside the van. And my pants are going down, and it's going to happen on the side of the road. I'm not going in my seat. And all I kept thinking about was that UPS, that FedEx driver, and I went, oh my gosh, we don't know the other side of the story. We never even got to talk to her. There's two sides, well, really three, right, to a coin, you know what I mean? And I just thought, oh my gosh. And I mean, I was struggling, man. Like, I mean, luckily I calmed down to where I can make it back to the shop. But, whoa, man, that's why I was like, if I would have had a bucket or something, I was like, be pulling off the side of the road in a parking lot, doing business, because it's bad. Truck with doors closed, it's not fun. With the seat up against, wedged up against the ceiling like this, that's not fun. I'm driving the trucks, Rusty. I do the same. Tony said if you had a Surewinder, he said they'd be using that baby, wouldn't be collecting dust. Oh, here we go, Tony. Oh, under the belt. Like that Spring Turner. Love it. I love it. It's Patrick got. There's also someone here recommended mounting site. I'm assuming side garage door. Oh, site garage door training. It looks to be good stuff, and they charge $1K for residential garage door repair training. Interesting. Patrick, you've been here. You're getting here to be about long enough now. Like I said, if you need some Uncle Dave love, I'll come down, man. We'll just do one. Or you want to meet halfway? We'll do Tony's. We'll do a free one for Tony. Tony can babysit us. He can sit in a chair with his Surewinder. I'll show you how the Spring Turner kicks ass, and we'll just, you know what I mean? Like, we'll go to town. But like I said, I don't know, man. I just don't really think it's when it comes down to it. Like I said, I'm not saying training's bad, right? Everything's good. You learn little nuggets, right? But once you do it, it's kind of like everybody probably holds a fork different, eats different hands, right? But it's a fork, you just kind of use it. You don't even think about it now. The more you use it, the more you do it. Now, when you're a baby, you're like all over the place, flinging it on the wall. But really, I still think it's like driver's training, right? You can do all the driver's training. At least you know the laws. But until you get out there and deal with the knuckleheads, you know how it is. Patrick, you're a driver. You know how it is. There's a bunch of, they call them the four-wheelers. The four-wheelers are the problems. Not the truck drivers, the four-wheelers. This is what's up, Nick. He says, anyone have opinions on garage door training schools? He says I worked for a local door company 2 years ago, and I've been thinking of starting a side gig and scaling to replace my current job. Got it. So Nick, this is a good one. This is a good one. How do we, like my business partner knew some garage door stuff. He wasn't a pro by any means. I was this guy a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, but the thing was, is the difference between me and my business partner when we start, my business partner wanted to work from 9 to 2, 9 a.m. in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then he wanted to ride motorcycles, wave runners, just whatever, just go do. I was always, we have to put a minimum in of 8 to 5. And oh, hey, we got up to 15 likes. So thank you for the likes. If you don't mind, click a like if you haven't clicked the like yet. So the thing is, you gotta put in a lot of time. That seems like what it is. It was like, what did I hear on the radio or on something today, right? It's like an athlete, right? It's like the golfer, right? It's so easy for us to see them, right? The A1, maybe Tommy, maybe not. The garage door training guy. That's why with Uncle Dave tries to keep it real. I try to keep it real with the guys. I don't try to sugarcoat it. I don't try to fluff it. But you got to put in the time, right? We see the golfers, we see the basketball guys, we see the football players, and we all, oh, it must be nice, man. Must be nice. They got this, they got the chick, they got the car, they got the house. But there was a sacrifice, and we don't see the sacrifice. The early mornings, the late nights, the weekends, possibly missing time with their kids for certain events. That's the stuff people don't see. So the big thing is you just gotta your best thing to do is if that's really what's in your heart, I'd almost say, maybe some of you guys could help me out on this. Do it because you love doing it. Do it because you love being outside. You got to make some money. Right? But it's not a quick get rich scheme or business. In a nutshell, you're probably better off communicating with whoever you work with and say, what can I do to add more value? And what can I do to increase my pay? What could I do? So like this concrete guy one time, right? I remember when I was younger, I was talking to him and I said, what do you do with your guys? I said, they always want more money, more money, money. And we were in Lowe's, right? So we didn't have a lot of time to talk. We're just in the checkout. And I remember he just looks at me and he goes, you want more money? He says, how are you going to make me more money? I was like, that's it? And I thought, well, in a nutshell, that kind of is it. You know what I mean? Because in a nutshell, the more the business makes, the more you can share, the more you can give, right? It's kind of that whole thing, like you have to put the oxygen mask on first when the airplane's going down to help others. And in business as entrepreneurs, it's tough, man. It is super duper tough. You know what I mean? You're a psychologist. You're a home not a home wrecker, but you're a home satisfier. Like you might have to give out a little loan. You might have to spend a little money that you don't want to. You might have to do a little bit of encouragement. You have to be a coach. There's just so many dynamics to it. But honestly, depending on if you're not dude, I'll work 14, 17 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what it, you know what I mean? That's what it takes sometimes. Even my neighbor, he always used to tell me, he said, if you want to get ahead, you got to work the hours, you got to put in the time, because I'd always see him on a Sunday or on a Saturday. We'd be here, he'd be working, I'd be working. And that's why sometimes it's not if you're looking for the money and you want the ease, you might want to just try to get a paycheck and not deal with all the headaches, because customers, it can be tough, man. Especially as you start. When you're starting out, it doesn't seem so bad because you kind of got the money, in a sense. But once you start really scaling and the water starts coming up, it gets to be like, oh, and this person's calling with a problem. This is a problem. Something changed in the manufacturer that you weren't a part of or didn't know nothing about. The circuit boards are zapping. There's a lot of variables in there. So anyways, you're starting a side gig, start on the after hours. Put the time in after hours. Some people don't care. And some people are just knuckleheads and you'll never satisfy them in the first place. And those are customers you want to deal with. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to customers on the weekend and they love it. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody's alive on the weekend? Oh, you answered your phone? Or even if you set it up for somebody, right? And say, well, I'm working full time, but I can get you on the weekend. Because some people, all they care about is this. They care about a lower price. Maybe you did a good job for their neighbor, or they liked you or something. And then eventually maybe if you get to a point where it's like you are drowning so much that you're like, you know what? But like I said, you also better have a good savings. That's the big thing. And I don't know. What would you guys, I'd like to ask some of my seasoned guys, Rich, maybe if Kevin's on here. I don't know if Kevin's, Tony, some of the seasoned guys, maybe Jesse even. What would you say? Start out. You need to have 5 grand. Now I'm saying this is kind of hit and miss. You know what I mean? You might have one job, the next day nothing. You might get maybe 2 jobs the next day. You might have 3 or 4 jobs, 5 jobs during the week, and that's it. So what do you got to start out with? My brain goes up to somewhere between 10 and 30,000. That's just what my brain tells me to have a little nest. Because the thing is, you got to buy some product, right? And that's where it kind of can be a pain, is that turnover. Luckily, with residential, you can typically get paid right away. And I guess too, because do you have a truck already? Do you have tools already? Tony had a good way to, any job he would do, then he'd buy some tools with that money, the profit. Tony said, Tony says, Patrick, come on down. He says, I'll train you for $1K. I'll do it for $9.99. Don't let Tony scam you. Richard says, thank God for large, is a Gatorade bottle. That's a good one. Hey, they smell good too, at least, until they're used. That's a good one, though. It says, bring it, Dave. It says, hey, Patrick, too. I love it. Man, what is up with the dye, Tony? What is that guy doing? He is still back. Normally they just go away. I wonder, dye, you got to keep it clean, man. You got some Chinese stuff going on there, too. Rusty says, experience is the best training. He says, work with seasoned guys and you will get more value than a class could give you. True. That's true. I've learned a lot from just being around other garage door guys too, just in passing, or they're working somewhere and talking to them and stuff like that. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing. We're so gifted nowadays that we have all this free technology at our fingertips. It's just a lot of people don't take action. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's really, a lot of people you just really got to take action. Put a post on Facebook, put a post on Craigslist, put a sign out, tell your friends, tell your family, whatever, you know what I mean? Hey, I'll take care of it. And like I said, even if you're concerned about it, do it for free. How much would you pay for the class? $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, maybe $2,000 by the time you include your time and your gas and your travel and everything, right? So why not do an opener for free? No harm, no foul. There's no contract. And let them know. Say, hey, I'll do this. I'm doing this to learn, right? I'm doing this for training for myself. And if it doesn't work out, you know what? You don't owe me nothing. If you want to give me a donation, you can. If you want to give me some milk and cookies, I'll take those. And otherwise, it's free. And you spend a Saturday, and you muscle through it, and you get Uncle Dave, which is going to be on life support with Tony. No, I'm just joking. And we're gonna get through it one way or another. You know what I mean? Like you let me know. Say, look, are you going to be around? I'll say, yeah, I'll be around a certain time or whatever. I'll just hit me up. And if you run into a pickle, give me a call. If you got an iPhone or FaceTime me. Show me what you got. You know what I mean? And we'll get through it. The biggest thing is just getting out there and turning that wrench, baby. Just getting out there. I know it's easy to be said, especially, I'm sure like there's some of us that just, it's so easy. We've done it for so long. And I know it's tough when you're first starting out. I understand. But just get out there, you know what I mean? And like I said, hey, you're doing it for free, right? But you go spend all this money for college, right? Well, just do this one for free. Say, look, you buy the opener, I'll show up. And I think it's hard for people's brains to think that way. Like, I can't do it for free. Why? What are you gonna do anyway? You gonna play video games? You gonna play golf that day or something? What? Like, if this is something you're passionate about and you want to learn, and it's gonna better you, then go for it. You know, get the manual, find out what opener they're gonna buy. You can download the manual, I'll guarantee it, online, which is easy. Look it up, go through it a little bit, get your bearings. It's really not that bad, probably whatever it is. Start putting that baby together. You're gonna run into a few hiccups, slap that puppy up. Openers are actually very forgiving. You know, some people want them level. Some people say you gotta put them slanted down. Some people say you gotta put them slanted up because they push down. They're very forgiving with a J-arm. So just do it. Do it. Just remember, photo eyes, unless it's changed, 6 inches or lower for safety, for human. We don't want to kill the cat. Tony says, I agree with that one, Rusty. Rusty says, 100% agree, Dave. He says, do it because you love it and customers will enjoy the experience. Yeah, don't do it for the money so much. Like I said, the money can come. The money will come, depending on how much effort you want to do. But you know, like I said, you got to always remember that certain things in life are like I said, it's like the Robert Kiyosaki, or it's the Rich Dad Poor Dad method, right? Everything is a vehicle in life. It can even be your wife, it can be your husband, it can be whatever, right? Everything is a vehicle to a certain degree. Some vehicles go really fast. Some vehicles have a lot of towing capacity. Every vehicle's different. So you just got to remember that, you know, the garage doors are only probably going to go so far, right? You're not going to be the neurosurgeon that makes, you know, $10,000 an hour when you're operating on somebody. You know, so they kind of got a certain level and limit. You know, and you got to remember there's only so much you can do unless you start hiring employees and then, you know, all that stuff. So just, you know, like I said, go out there and live it up. Rusty says, second advice is before training, understand the numbers required to run the business and be profitable. Make more work doesn't always equal more profit. Yeah, Russ. Yeah. Let's just say Uncle Dave did that really, really bad. That I don't know. It was either 2 or 3 years that I never understood that. And it's like the saying I have now, right? When people kind of go, you know, and I don't mean it like if somebody comes up to me, I'm not going to be a jerk about it, right? You know, I'll tell them, say, yeah, we're pretty steady or something like that. But it's that thing and that mindset, right? When people always would come up to me and they go, "You busy?" And I'd be like, not so much busy. We're profitable, because, like I said, I did it all to myself, right? Like when we were doing Lowe's, we had our own customers, we had commercial. We were on fire, right? I was working the guys 10, 12 hours a day, and Uncle Dave was working 14 to 17 hours a day, Monday through Sunday, no stopping. And then when you start doing the numbers with your accountant and stuff, and you're like, there's not that much money. Where's all this money? And you start looking at your line items, and you realize, oh, it's going into repairs, it's going into fuel, we're traveling too far, we're sending 2 guys in a truck. This is not, you know what I mean? And that's the thing with that whole distance, right? Because I'd get guys, they'd be like, you're not going to send me with somebody? I'm like, I can't. I need somebody to go north. I need somebody to go south. One of you is going to run into problems, you know what I mean? And then if there's one of you that has problems, but there's 2 guys in a truck, now there's 2 of you with problems that aren't doing nothing. So there's a whole demographic to the whole thing, you know, and that's why sometimes it's always different, right? Because sometimes I always, you know, I think about that, like if you live in a rural area, you know, you travel, you know, quite a bit. So my one buddy, right? He lives in a rural area. He was a drywaller. He decided now he makes he makes cabinet. He's a good craftsman. Like he knows how to make like dressers and all that kind of stuff. Basically like the Amish, but with a little more flair. And he does really good. And he's like, Dave, he's like, I'm not traveling to the customers. I don't have to like take my shoes off when I go inside, because he was, obviously doing drywall and stuff. And then he'd do like repairs. So he wasn't doing like a full house. He was doing like, like he'd do a bathroom and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm not traveling. I'm putting the wear and tear. He's like, they show up in my house. I market it. He's like, I'm making better money. I got people coming to me. And so that's just always something to think about, right? When people come to you, because even my vendor, right? I always look at that, the one that did our garage doors, and his dad did it for years and years. And he said, I wasn't going to be like my dad. He said he worked his hiney off. And I look at that and I go, I can see where he's coming from on that, because I've fought employees and stuff, secretaries here before on this. I can send something out the door. I make $100, and they're like, "You made $100?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I made $100." And I'm like, I don't have to like touch it. I don't have to travel it. I don't have to worry about it falling out of the truck. I don't have to worry about going to the job site. And yes, it could have damage, but I'm sorry, Mr. Customer, bring it on back. It's just one of those things when you start doing business, you start looking at things kind of differently as you grow and age, and just it's amazing how you can look at one thing and you go, oh, that's the best thing ever. And then you start doing it for years and you're like, oh, you know what? I can see where you can only scale this so big until you either got to go this direction or you got to hire this or do that or this software or this technology. It's fun though. It's fun. He says, I'll have to go back and watch, but he says, I haven't had a call for a job in about 3 weeks. Holy moly. Evan, though, I don't know if you're like, are you doing stuff like on Facebook? I know somebody had a good idea. They were talking about like Nextdoor. Because it's kind of like the new-ish. I don't know if this is like really that big. Whoops. I paused. It's battery time. I got to charge a little bit. But I know like Nextdoor, I heard one of you guys was telling me about, they post every day. And I was like, ooh, that's a good idea. I used to take something from my my banker lady. Every day when she comes in early. And she will she changes her voicemail. So if you don't want to miss a customer, she changes her voicemail every day. I was doing that for a long time. I changed the voicemail and say, hi, this is Dave with Affordable Door and Gate. I am in the office today, and I would say the day and the time and, whatever. And I'm just either with a customer right now. And it's amazing how sometimes you got to like program or direct or like kind of like cattle. You got to like tell them which way to go. Like, hey, I'm here today. It's not just a regular voicemail. So they hear it and go, oh, well, they're in today. It's Thursday and it's the 8th. Oh, well, I'm going to leave a voicemail. Hi, yeah, I need somebody to call me back, blah, 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 blah. Another way to kind of help you on the food chain. Nextdoor, like I said, every day post something new in the morning, so it's fresh. Those are some things. He's got Nick. Nick says, straight up answer. He says, I graduated college and have a indoor job since garage job. He says, just not for me. He says, I enjoy sweating. I get it. And the Arizona heat, yours better with might sound crazy. No, it doesn't sound crazy at all. I get it. I used to work in a shop, man. And I tell you what, it's like the older you kind of get, at least for me, the more you realize you want to be surrounded by good people, like-minded people, upbeat people. The world has so many negative people. It drives me nuts, because I walk around some places and I think to myself, I go, if this person would change their attitude, they could times 2 elevate their life. But I've had it before, like employees, not even now, but I've had employees come in and they really talk bad about their wife. Bad. She's a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I mean, stuff does kind of happen, but I kind of have a hard time believing that you're not contributing to some of this. Now, sometimes it'd come back where they were. You know what I mean? Like you'd find out later on there's this going on. There was maybe drugs. There was an affair. And it's like not good. Basically, not good. You know what I'm saying? So it's. But when I worked at a shop, I couldn't stand, man, the people that would just constantly complain about the shop. And I mean, I'd sit there and be eating my lunch. And I'd see the man door open, right, on the side of the building, letting cooler air in, And I just always would be like, you guys don't have to be here. Like, there's a door right there. Door right there. You can leave. It's not locked. It's open. Like, you can walk out right now. And if you want, I'll leave a love letter for you, or I'll tell them what happened. You just walk out. Well, I can't do that. I got bills to pay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, then what are you going to do? What are you going to do to start figuring it out? Because it doesn't happen overnight. It's a very slow process, very slow. And that's why I look at it just like with the garage doors and stuff like that. If that's something you're passionate about, like I said, do one a month. One a month is better than nothing a month. Do one a month and try it. And then do another one another month and try it. Maybe it will go for 2 months. You won't get nothing. Try it again. And you're going to slowly start learning. You're going to start seeing what the customers, plus you're going to put some time on there. So customer calls you, and they're like, yeah, that opener, remember that opener you installed? Yeah, it's not working. And you're like, what? Or the problems you're having, or you're just like, you know what? I just, I got to keep going back. So my buddy, right? My one buddy does like dumpsters, right? You think about it. Dumpsters back 4 times, right, to the customer. Got to go there, drop a dumpster can off. You gotta go get back. You know what I'm saying? There's like multiple. My one buddy said, though, he told me, he says, you think about it. He goes, the septic guys got it better. Now, I'm just not saying they are, because it's always easier to look and say the grass is greener, right? But the septic guy goes out there with his truck. He pumps out the poop out of the tank, out of a septic tank, right? And people are normally more willing, right? It's kind of like that whole insurance panic thing, broken springs. People are willing to be like, oh my gosh, my yard's flooded. It's got poop smell everywhere, and the neighbors are upset, and we got a birthday party coming up this weekend. We need somebody. And you're like, I'll be there, madam or sir. You go out there, you're like, it's $1,200, $2,000 to pump your, okay. Can I give you a credit card? Can I, whatever, right? You do your stinky business. The truck still got a little bit of room in it. You go do 2 more, maybe 3 more jobs. You go just like that. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Consolidate. So it's just a matter of like, you got to look at stuff. And I really don't even know. Like I said, I'm not a septic guy, but I'd love to see what some of those guys say. The problems are like, you are dead wrong, man. You suck that septic tank too fast, it'll collapse. Or you pull on, I'm sure you pull on the ground wrong. Those are businesses I'd love to hear. I love all business, Got to take the sleep pill. Richard says, have a good one, guys. Got to go to the gym. Hey, good. Go get some exercise. Glad to have you, Richard. Thanks for putting the input in. What is this? Did I miss this one? Okay, so here we go. Is it Rusty? He says, Evan, he says, are you advertising? What is your normal calls per week? Yes. Dave, he says, I met a guy today in Atlanta who owns his own garage door repair business. He was driving a 20-year-old Ford F-150. We struck up a conversation at a barbecue joint. Ooh, man, I could use some good barbecue right now. That sounds really good. He said he's grows 600 in 2023. Maybe, right? Maybe. Like I said, it's hard to say, Patrick, because I remember the one year, I think I did like 1.2. I did over $1 million in sales, man. I felt like the man. I was like, oh, yes. Like, and I think we ended up, the book said 30. We had 30,000 in profit by the time you took out payroll, by the time you took out fuel, you took out like and I was like, 30? What? And I was like, I don't even have 30, man. It's like the bank account's got 16. I was like, what the heck is going on? And that's where, like I said, it can be all skewed. I have a couple friends that are weird numbers, so you never can take anything at face value, unless you're like, you do. Let me see your profit and loss statement. So it's just something to consider, right? Because like I said, for me too, I was like, dude, we did over $1 million in sales. Now when I scaled it back and did 800,000, we doubled it. It was like 60,000 just by scaling it back, because we weren't traveling, we weren't putting the miles on the vehicles, we were being smart, we were asking the right questions. We still fumble. Like I said, that phone, sometimes you got to get pictures. You have to make sure the customer works for you to some degree. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people out there that'll waste your time. We just don't have the manpower for that. I wish we did. I could use probably at least one or two more residential subs in a sense, because we just kind of turn them off, and our commercial comes first. You know what I mean? We've had the reputation. We take really good care of them. They know if they call us, we can show up, and ours are all local. So most of our commercial customers, which they typically like, we're there in 15 minutes because they're all close. You know what I mean? Our demographic's really tight. Maybe. Juicy? Got juicy. And the 20-year-old F-150, you never know. Like I said, sometimes these other vehicles are lasting longer. I look at it like I said, I'm gonna get me a square body Chevy that I can work on with a 350 Chevy, because this other stuff is getting just so goofy. Nissan's got even some issues, right? It's got a check engine, and I did a scan tool on it tonight, and it's like, it's got O2 sensor, it's got this NOx sensor. I'm thinking, holy crap, like all this stuff. And then even if I do this, what if it's a Cadillac converter? Well, those aren't cheap. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? I like the trucks that didn't have the dummy lights. You know what I mean? You just knew when you're like, this thing ain't running right. Something is going chugga, chugga, chugga. Something's not right. Evan says, I started 2 weeks ago and I was getting 1 or 2 calls a week. He says, first 2 jobs, I offered my service. My third customer found me from a review. My second customer left and had a call back from my first customer to do a spring change a couple weeks ago. Haven't had a call from any new customers since. I started a Facebook page. I'm trying to get a website going at the moment. So Tony says, Evan, are you on Google Maps? So those are all kind of good things. I think not trying to like pick on Evan by any means. Oh, we're up to 15 likes too. Maybe we can get 16 and squeeze it out for some. But I'm not trying to pick on Evan, but I think Evan's a perfect example sometimes a little bit that I try to like stress, where I'm like, I personally think the market's soft and it's hit and miss, honestly, guys. Like the big dogs I'm seeing right now, some of the big commercial, the builder guys, like there's nothing really happening with those guys. Oh man, thanks. 16. We got up to 16 likes. Thank you guys. But so the big dogs, and these big dogs play into the future of like, it all kind of trickles down, right? So big dogs are like, they don't know if it's going to be Democrat, they don't know if it's going to be Republicans going to be in the House. So it's that lame duck year, right? Everything's just kind of like I think we're in the ocean. It's up, it's down, it's violent, it's swirly, it's all around. So that's why I always tell some people, I'm like, right now it would probably not be, and I might even give it some time next year to see by the time the next president gets in, which way things are kind of going on. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes right now, and all it takes is just like you guys seen it with the stock market. All of a sudden, blah, 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 now it's like it's coming back up. I don't even really understand why, but what it is. Probably Target had a good earnings. I don't know, but it's real volatile, and that's why I'm always like, you need to be, if you're able to have a job and then keep working on the side where you get to the point where, like, it's just, you're drowning. And like I said, I don't think anybody put in the comments, like I said, what would you want to start out with if you could? Can you start 0? Yeah, but I'd want my steady income. I'm just saying, if you were to kind of go into it flat, like I said, I right now, I think I'd be like, I want 10 grand. I need 10 just to get me, keep my, and then it's going to be super hard, aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, never have a shirt that doesn't say your business on it anywhere you go, pretty much. Business cards are full in my pocket. Every we go to the restaurants and they got those boards up, right? You're putting up, your business card. Maybe even make a thing with little tear offs or something saying 20% off. Just go like aggressive, like 20% off garage door service, 20% off a garage door opener, whatever you got to do. I think one of you guys told me one time you were offering a free lube, like you were offering a free lube job. Don't take that the wrong way, but you're offering a free spray lube job. And then it gets you. It's amazing when you start getting like, I can't tell you how many times in the business, like when I'm slow, I'd be like, I'm gonna tear apart a truck. You know what I mean? I start cleaning and organizing. I start tearing apart my truck, start organizing the tool. Bring. Oh, can you? Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, they can wait a little bit. I got. Bring. Oh, man, I gotta put this truck back together. Guess not cleaning the truck today. So I always would do it after hours or on the weekend, and business would pick up. Or you get in front of customers, it seems like it never fails. You start working at a job, boom, another job pops up. And you're like, where were you like 2 days ago? You know what I mean? So now you gotta hustle through this job. You do the next job. So you just, it takes time. It takes time to build up. But I don't think this market is as saturated like when it was with like when the stimmy checks and all that are out that we couldn't even. I was just telling the wife today. I said, you remember? I said when we were traveling around the state of Michigan, slightly used to brand new ones that people didn't use, and I was dissecting them. I was building garage door sections. I was insulating them. I was cutting them down, putting end caps on them, just to keep certain builders needed them, up and running. It was insane. I mean, if I would have had a pile of garage door, I mean, we could have it was crazy. It was so crazy. My first goes for Springs. Rusty's got, yes, Patrick's, that's very possible. And if you know your overhead, that you could be breaking even or marginally profitable or making, he says you can gross $1 million. He says, but you got to keep some. Yeah, it's basically the net. That's it. And like I said, we did big, man, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Boom. So Randy, what's Randy got? Question. So got a new Genie opener and door. It says for whatever reason it operates reverses, meaning it will force close when the beam is triggered. Cannot program it to normal. How can I fix it? Maybe one of the guys will know. Question, I got a new Genie opener and door. For whatever reason, it operates. Reversing it will force close. When the beam is triggered. Wow. That sounds really messed up. Like, that sounds like you need a whole nother opener. You got to get that circuit board. Like, that's just me. Maybe one of the guys will hear, I'll comment on it. Because if the beam's broken, it shouldn't. What does it say? When a beam is triggered, it cannot, and you can't program. Sounds like a board problem. Hopefully, maybe it got installed by somebody, have them come back out and look at it, maybe warranty it, or call Genie. Genie might even send you a new circuit board on it. Evan, he says, when I started my business, he says, I paid the company $1,200. They got me on Google Maps and all over the internet. Best $1,200 I ever spent. He says I compete against 23 garage door companies, and I do about 3 to 4. Tony, jobs day, not bad. We have all those companies in my area. Tony says, when you say you can compete against 23, he says, is that that's a good question. Is that a 20-mile radius or more? I like the 20 miles. I'm a 20-mile guy. 20, 30 miles, baby. I got it from Lowe's, you know what I mean? And you start kind of looking at it, that's what I look at. He says, I cleared a easy 150,000, he says, gross. Rusty says, gross or net? He says, that is within an hour of me. Okay, so an hour. says that's within an hour of me. He said I have at least 50 companies within an hour. Yeah, it's amazing. That's the thing too, is you got to always remember the free market's kind of good, like to balance things out, and competition's good too. You know what I mean? It keeps everybody kind of honest, and customers have options. So, um, you know, Rusty says, I know because I've checked a Google search yesterday when I was in a nearby city and ranked towards the bottom. He says, I will up my advertising budget. He says, and see if that changes because it's a good market. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Patrick says, Rusty, he says he only does repairs and no installing. But if he does installation, he has a 4K minimum. But he says his profit margin is close to 70-90. Huh, interesting. Okay, Tony's 12 in the 30 mile. Let's see what Rusty said here real quick. He says, Patrick sounds like he was buttering your biscuit. I got somebody asking a question there. And giving you highlights, but I guess after overhead and taxes, he doesn't make 90%. Yeah, it's kind of, it's always a tricky one. Like I said, when the one employee told me, he goes, if I ever start a garage door business, I just do spring repair. And I thought, that's probably not enough to really like fill your schedule all the time. But I thought, I see his point, because I really do. I sit there and I go, man, if you just want to like, I kind of think of like the retired guy in a sense, or just somebody that has like, they can jump off a job anytime they want. I'm like, broken springs, baby. I'm like, there's no scratches, there's no dents, there's, what's the worst thing really? A cable comes off because you didn't do it right, but hopefully you do it right. But there's no like, and people like kind of in that state of emergency, it's like the insurance jobs, right? They kind of, I'm not saying like you should take advantage of your customers, but you can up the price a little, like, oh, you got a broken spring? Well, I could be out there, it'd be another 50, $100 or whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, I can get you taken care of though. They're small, they're compact, they fit in the vehicle. I don't know. That's why I was going, when you think about like, if we started calculating all our time sometimes, like I bet we'd scratch our head and go, well, this is kind of silly. I'm here doing scratch. Well, I'm making $1,000 off this job. Okay, well, you know what I mean? Like, but I had to unload a semi. I had to wait for that stupid semi. That darn thing didn't show up on time. They were an hour late. I didn't get paid for that. Then I had to load it up in my vehicle. Then I had to go, drive it across town. Then I had to go there. I had to unload my tools. I had to unload the door. I had to take out an old door. Maybe you don't charge. Some people don't charge. You got to take a door. You got this mess to deal. Then you got this mess to go back to shop. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things versus like a little spring, and you're like, or out in the dirt for right now until I'll scrap it. There's all kinds of different levels, But I think there's a lot of people out there. I even have friends that there was like a group, I don't ever hang out with them. They're like, I've been passing, you know how it is. And like you ask them about stuff, and it's like, you can't ever take what they say. Oh, it's just great. It's just great. And it's like, okay, it can't always be great. Like I'm almost like, I'd rather just people, I'm like, tell me the bad. Tell me a little good, but tell me what's the bad? I want to know the bad. You know what I mean? Not that I want bad for you. I just want to know, like, can't be sunshine and rainbows all the time. You know what I mean? It never is. It just doesn't always work that way. Josie says, just got home. He says, fixed 2 racked doors. He says, and warranty callback. Says, did you get the pictures of the 4-spring conversion I text you? I don't know if I did. Send it again, man. I might have missed it. I didn't think I had anything missed, but I still don't remember seeing the 4 springs. I know I didn't see the 4 springs. Make sure you got the right number, the 231-720-9675. I have to, I'll write it down, but oh yeah, I can write it down. It says, totally agree, Dave. He says, I'm not hoping to be self-employed. He says, just enough and use my customers as my reference. I can get hired on an established company rather than trying to learn how to do my trade plus learning how to run a business. That's good. Like I said, it'll come. It's so easy. I had so many employees over the years that would walk through these doors, right? you know, and be outside or something. And I mean, it's just so easy for people that they just go, "Oh, it must be nice, man. Oh my gosh, must be doing really blah 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 blah." You know, and it's like you can't even tell them in a half an hour worth of time all the sacrifices, all the headaches, all the nights of worrying about a job, all the nights of putting something together. There's so many things that go into it, so many things, and that's why sometimes I'm like, like there's been days where I miss when I used to punch a time clock, and you hear the mill or you hear the machine in the background break, right, and you're like, you guys have a good night. I'm out. First shift's out. Second shift can take care of it. And you go enjoy your weekend. You go, do whatever, party, whatever. There's beautiful things too about being self-employed. There is benefits. There's no denying it. But it's like I said, if you don't like to deal with stress, you don't like working those long hours. I don't know. I'm more triggered nowadays. I look at it like an insurance guy, right? I like the insurance idea. They sell the policy, money comes in, you find another customer, the policy comes in, versus always darting out for that job. And you get paid, you get money, right? But now you're on a contract, right? You took care of somebody. You better done a job. You better, if they call you, better honor it. You know what I mean? Got to go back out there. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes you make a few dollars. Sometimes you don't. It's a very tricky. But you'll get there. Like I said, Patrick, man, just go around, start talking, put some posts on Facebook, man. You start putting it out there enough, and somebody's gonna grab you. You know what I mean? Somebody's gonna pick you up. Like I said, I'd love to find somebody in the general area that's passionate about it. That wants to learn. It'd be great. I'm not a selfish man. I would train somebody. I'd teach everything I know. You know what I mean? Because it's like a twofold. You know what I mean? It's like it's a win-win. You're learning, how to run it. You're also possibly helping me out on jobs. And see, that's the hard thing about a lot of this stuff is finding somebody that's passionate about it, that does a good job. It's not cussing and swearing at the customers, is peeing in the bushes and all that kind of stuff. Super tough. Holy cow, we got up to 18 likes too. Man, we might hit 20 before we end. That'd be cool. And it's worked. It's helped bring a few more people in. That's awesome. To run business. Patrick, he says, the guy told me he covers the whole metro Atlanta area. And all of his clients live in $500,000 houses in subdivision, and he charges accordingly. Maybe so. It might be. I mean, like for us up in the old Michiganders, our ticket numbers, this is a couple years back, our numbers were always like 1,200. We wanted the truck to make $1,200. That was like the minimum. If it makes more, that's great. But it's $1,200 a truck. You know what I mean? It's probably more about 2 grand now. But everybody's area is different. You know what I mean? Your gas prices are different than my gas prices. Your houses are different than my houses. But it's how much are you gonna run? How much you gonna run, baby? How much you gonna run? He says, yes, Patrick decided to charge accordingly too. It's very possible what he's saying. Wilson, any advice on getting into gate repairs and / or installing gate openers at residential houses? Okay. So I wanna address this because this is a good question. So Wilson, so here's the thing. I don't want to discourage you. That's not my intent in life. What do we want? Do you want the Wayne Dalton? You guys like the Wayne Dalton. I know you do. But here's the thing. I'm going to talk to you. Talk to man to man. But here's the thing. Everything's possible, right? I don't do gate operators. Or for the most part. Now, if the economy's tanking or I'm just starting out, yeah, I might. You know what I mean? But I just want to give you some things. Here's the thing why I don't. This even kind of with residential openers and stuff like that a little bit, right? Residential people, customers, are the hardest customers I've ever dealt with in my life. For one, when you're dealing with gates, every neighbor has an opinion, unless you're on the boonies. Every fire department has you got to do this. You got to put flashers on it. You got to have sirens on it. You got to have a Knox box, a fire box. There's a lot that goes into it. I had a customer down the road here, right? A job I did not want to do. I think we did I don't know, it was very little, 10, 20 feet of fencing, right? Did not want to do the job. Did it for way overpriced. He could have got it for at least half the price. The neighbor was a total jerk. The neighbor was a renter. He pulled out all the posts for this little old man. It was heartbreaking. And I even told the old man, I staked it out. I said, you're going to tell me, I'm going to mark these out where we're going to put this thing. You know what I mean? And he did. He said, I'm positive this is where my property line is. So residential, what I'm just getting on the gate operator side, is very, very difficult because you also get with, you have kids, you have dogs, ungodly amount of different things that happen at residential. That's why I only deal with commercial, with the fencing and the gates on the operator side. Now, here's something to think about, right, for all of us. This is what I think about. Somebody can always give me an email or whatever, because I love insight. When you deal with a commercial customer, they normally had to earn their position. They're normally not 95 years old. They're normally not 12 or 15 or 22 years old. They're normally in that sweet spot of maybe 25, 30, 55, 60. That's about their range in the commercial. They earn that spot. There's a reason they're in that position. And that's why I do like the commercial typically, because typically you're dealing with a group of people or men or mechanics or whatever it is that are all earned. Reconnected again. A remote, the government. We got up to 22 likes, guys. I think the government's not liking this. It's Mr. B. Mr. B's watching. Let's go, Brandon. So that's just what I kind of got. Like I said, but any advice? Like I said, they're out there. We have a contractor, another fence company that really wants us to do them for them. And we try the Dickens. We haven't even done one. We're just we don't, you need to find somebody else. We don't, but if you got commercial, we'll do, but we just can't. And he's struggling. He's dude, I need somebody. We're just not up to Mrs. Jones' standard. We're not there to hold hands. There's just not enough money for us in it. It's a lot of headaches. So I'm just putting that out there, not to discourage you though, but how to get in, like I said, just advertise and word of mouth. Is it doable? Yes. Patrick, he says, Rusty, he says, I don't really need $1 million. He says, I have a friend in Texas who does 1K per day. He says, that would get me off the highway and out of the truck for good. Patrick says, have you ever done garage doors? Find an entry level job, start learning. He says it will take years. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've said it before, but when I was doing garage doors, it took me a year just and spring was my biggest thing. I was I don't understand how you're winding this spring against the grain. The spring you should be screwing into to keep it tight. The torsion spring is what threw me the most. And I was how are you turning that, tightening that down, and then it converts over here, it goes backwards. Now it's nothing, right? You can do it in your sleep. That was the hardest thing. And then if you had a door that went crooked and the rollers are out, you're what do I do? Oh my gosh. So there is a lot. It took me a year just to feel I understand the basics. Did I feel like an expert? Nope. Did I feel like I could go on my own and just conquer the world? Nope. It took me 5 years. It took me 5 years to feel then I kind of got there. I was I got this. And I'd say another 8 to 10 years to where now I go, I don't even flinch. I go, I've done this. I see what we got to do. Is there still new challenges? Absolutely. But you know what I mean? Like it takes time. So that's why I'm always like, the sooner, like, when was the best time to plant a tree? Like 20 years ago or like today. So plant a tree, like get an opener under your belt. Just everything you do, even if you go out and just spray a garage door, spray it down with oil. Learn the lube that you like. Talk to the customer. Get a do bottom seal. Do weather seal. Understand how to cut it. What it changes if you got cold climates. How it breaks. How it's this or that. You know what I mean? Patrick, he says, what part of Texas are used to hanging doors? In Tyler, Texas. Rich has got spring jobs. Are cash cow. Let's go. Let's go, Rich. I'm kind of a slow learner, but I tell you, when that guy told me that, he goes, man, if it goes if everyone out, he's not here anymore, but he doesn't even do, I don't know. I think he lives off the government now or something. I don't know. But he always like, I'm gonna do a spring. And I thought, man, you think about it. It's so compact. You can fit them in a vehicle. I mean, most of the time, yeah, you might get a flag bearing or something, but if you got a bearing pusher, buddy, you can pop a bearing out real easy. Sweet, we're in Jobber right now. I see Jobbers popping up. It says, somebody viewed a quote. Now this one's been approved. Okay, Jobber. See, there you go. It keeps working for you at 10:30 at night. You just start building the system. But and Jobber needs to get me a hat. Where's Jobber? I want a hat. And so anywho, but you just every time you touch it, you're learning. You just keep playing with stuff, you learn, and you can just get better over time. It just takes time. It really does. You just got to start. And then every time, what I always do is I don't have it with me, but I got my binder I bring with me every time I do a job, right? And anytime I'm there, I'm like, dang it, man, wish I had a sweat rag. Guess what? That goes on my list. Dang, I wish I had a big flat screwdriver. Goes on my list. Dang, I wish I had a fan. Goes on my list. Dang, I wish I had a spring turn. I'm glad I ain't got that sure winder like Tony. Write that on your list. You know what I mean? Like, I got winding bars. I need commercial winding bars. And I would do it for anything. Like, so I'd write it down. I write it down like, here's a 9x7, not insulated. And I'll even write down normally what it took me for time. So I got a judgment of like, okay, it's going to be a 4 to 6 hour job. It's going to, I'm going to be gone for the most of the day. Oh, wow, this job's, and what you should even not thinking is put your time away, or how many miles away from like the shop or your location, home. That'd be a good thing too to factor in there. So if you get somebody else that calls and they're another hour plus away, you're like, whoa, that's going to take me all day now. By the time I do cleanup, anything you can document, stuff you can always go back and look. So write that stuff down. Then the next job's easier, right? The next job, you got to load the vehicle up, truck up, car up, minivan, whatever. You go through, all right, I got to have screwdrivers. I got to have my hand tools, which maybe you already got your bucket set up. I got to have winding bars. I got to have a 4-foot ladder. I got to have this. San Antonio area, as Patrick says, I love cash jobs. That's what I live off. Heck yeah, man. The cash money. This is Dave. He says he does springs, cables, openers, service, and stuff like that. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. It's like I said, it's good money. The expectation might be up there a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, anything's possible. I mean, we all know who Precision Garage Door is, right? They do all their stuff, and people all the time are like, I don't understand how they're in business. I don't understand how. It's obviously doable. Obviously, there's people out there charging that much. There's a sucker born every day, right? So certain people will pay. Some people don't care. Some people just glad somebody answered. You don't even know sometimes how many, like I've had customers and they're like, oh my gosh, like somebody that's actually nice, or somebody that answered the phone, or somebody that called me back. There's a lot of places that just don't care, I can't tell you how many times I've called places. Now that I deal with like a lot of rentals and I deal with contractors and stuff, it's like, it's amazing. It's amazing how many people it's like you're on the phone and you're like, I almost have to like tell them, like, I'm like, okay, like the roof, yeah, it needs nail, like underlayment, yep, yep, ice and water, right? That's what you're trying to. Yeah. That's. I don't know if I got the right guy. You know. Tony says, he says, oh, Patrick, he says, that's down there. He says, that's warm. So I hung the door in, is it McAllen, Texas? He says, I lived there for about a year. It was hot. Yeah. Tony said, I didn't like all the black windows. I had a deal with Texas when I was hanging doors and tearing old ones out. Black windows. What do you mean, Tony? Tony, can you tell me a little more on that? What is that? Is it like tinted windows, like on cars, or just what's black windows? For houses? Like trying to keep the sun out? Jeremy says 1,200 per day. That's what I was talking about. 1,200 per truck, gross, not net, but the truck needed to be out doing jobs. $300 spring job, a garage door, $900, $1,200 garage door, $1,500, obviously more. That's just what we kind of figured because we had a percentage of what was going to be on our, for that amount of sales, Patrick says, Tony, I'm really trying to decide between garage door repair and pressure washing. So I'm really burned out on the road. I totally get that. I wish I had more on the power washing. I've seen some guys. I got a guy that one is a family member, a distance family member, I should say. And man, I don't know. Because I tell you, when I think about power washing, I think about it like when I was doing roofs, right? And you got to deal with like people's plants, and maybe you use the wrong chemicals and it kills their plant. What you're doing. I mean, that's why I kind of like roof springs, or you got just a photo eye, or and the thing is, like, there's not a lot of like, I love the fact that we don't have to like take off our shoes typically, unless you go, there's only one man door and that's through the house. But like HVAC, oh man, I give my hats off to those guys. They got to go down in the basements. They got to deal with like, just, you know what I mean? Like, I had one lady one time, it's in a bad part of town. And it was like one of those jobs we went to. It wasn't very, looked over very good. We just kind of ran out there. It was me that ran out there, and she couldn't get in her garage door, and she was panicking. So she thinks like I'm a locksmith. She's like, "Can you get in my garage?" I'm like, "I know way. I know with a coat hanger and stuff, I can push on the top panel. I know how to pop that baby." But I didn't want her to watch because I just felt like she was going to be a Karen, and I figured she was going to be like, "You dent in my garage door," even though if I did or didn't, you know what I mean? You know how it is, right? Like it's like somebody watching them push a dent out of their car or something, or push a dent or whatever for something else. It's just like, but if they come back, they come around the corner and go, "Oh, it looks great." So anyways, she walked away. I popped in. I got the thing because for whatever reason, the man door is boarded up. The windows are boarded up. Not a good situation. I got open. She had to go inside. And she's like, "Well, how'd you do that?" She's like, "There's no power." And I'm like, "Oh, I got it. We're all good. We got in. We're good. Just don't worry about it. I got it. Well, anyways, now we're trying to get the opener to work, right? The opener's not working. I plug my charger, my DeWalt 18-volt charger into it. No power. Plug into the outlet on the side of the garage. No power. Damn. What the hell's going on here? We ain't got no power. So now she realized, and like I said, this lady's on a rocker. She's a little off a rocker. She finally tells me, she goes, "Well, I haven't had power in like, a couple, my basement's flooded." And I'm like, she goes, I can't believe this, honestly, this day. I can't believe I'm telling this. She tells me, she goes, "Every time I flush the toilet, there's water that goes in my basement." And when she opened her door, when I walked by to go to my service vehicle, I mean, the stench would knock you over. And she was like, "Do you want to go down there? My electrical panel's down there. Do you want to go down there?" And I'm like, No, I'm good. Water and electricity. And she's like, "It's up to your knees." And I'm like, bleh. I'm like, so her basement is turning into a sewage. And I kid you not, her son was coming up in a couple days. And so now it was one of those service calls I went to. I wanted out of there so bad. And I told her, I said, you're good. I said, you're good. I said, I'm not even gonna, nothing. And she's just like, I don't understand how you got in. And I'm like, I got it up manually. It's fine. There, now you can get your car out. You can go. It's like when your son comes up, if he has problems, I shouldn't have said it, right? And she says, so he calls me a couple days later. And he's like, how'd you get her garage? I mean, he's like lost, you know. He's like, how'd you get her garage door? And I'm like, well, I popped the manual disconnect. I said, there's no power. Oh, I know. And I said, I didn't think they were gonna ever do it. And I said, you get power there. I said, maybe I can take a look at it sometime. And I was like, please don't call back. Please don't call back. Like I just, this is not a customer that we can just deal with right now. We're just so busy. Like I'm just not a good fit. Please don't call back. We didn't charge nothing. I'm out. I did my good deed. Lord. It was like, it was not good. So I don't know. Power washing, like I said, is one of those things. I think about the bushes. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Anytime you get people, like I said, those residential in their homes, you know, if you blow something, you blow too hard on the windows, it leaks in the window. Tony says, dude, around here, there's so many pressure washing. He said, I would definitely go do garage doors because you can do that anywhere, and there is a need for it. He says, pressure washing is, I'm assuming this is like a want, you know, more than a need. And I would agree. Like I said, right off top, right now, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I do garage doors. You know what I mean? Like, it's the pressure washing. There is quite a few. I do see a lot of signs and stuff. And some people are just always looking, I guess, like in garage doors too, right? Looking for a deal. I just see like those people, like, they just like, it's water and soap. And it's like, it's not, it's time. And I got to bring a crew out here, or bring people, or do it myself, you know? Rusty says, I think pressure washing has a lower barrier of knowledge for entry. So you can get started and be expert way sooner. I'd agree. So I think pressure washing. Rusty. Oh, where does it say? Tony says, Rusty, if you're good with your hands, you can learn it in no time. Tony Rusty says, when I started, I had 2 weeks of training from a man. He was 80 years old. Wow. Within 3 years, they came to me and said, whatever I'm doing to keep it up, because they're never made so much money. Oh, that's so cool. Is it Jaberon? I can't. Tony Miller, he says, if you only ever done repair on my own, says if I've only ever done repair on my own door, how do I learn enough to go out and do my own? Number one thing, going into the job, being confident that you can take care of it. Ooh, I like that. I want to add to that. That's a good point right there, because, you know, one thing I always learned from my uncle, being in construction and stuff, and I'd work with him on some jobs, because we have slow time when I first started out. So it is nice if you have a family member or a friend that you can jump into their job, you know, maybe help them. My uncle did that. That's, you know, he was great for that. And, but I learned from him the confidence. Like, people come up with the customers, right? And he'd be like, not a problem. Got it. Not a problem. We'll handle it. We got it. It's all good. Sweet. You know, it's good. I learned that from him at a very early age, that I agree. You go in there, it's almost a little bit like you fake it till you make it, but, you know, you can be confident and tell them, look, like, hey, I had a problem here. You know, no clue. There's people out there too that know, like me. I get based on if I want to actually do it. You know what I mean? I'll pay the money. So yeah, so going confidence, good. You know, I like that. It's not hard. You have YouTube University. There you go. I like that. Somebody else said, what was it? I've been YouTube trained. I like that too. You can learn it. He says, I agree. He says, but if you want customers to trust you as an expert, you must have years is true, knowledge to pull from. He says, I can't imagine watching YouTube in a customer's garage. You just got to get the earpiece, right? The AirPods or whatever. Put those on. I'm just listening to music. Yeah, just hold on. I'm not. He's talking important right now. You know. Whoa, Liftmaster 8365W guy is back. Nice. Like I said, he says I have 2 weeks training and took a company to make it more money than they ever made. He says if you can figure out there's helpline, you don't know how many times I've called that. 23. Holy cow. Whoops. We're up to 25, Rich. Like it. No, that's awesome. You know, and I think it is like, for the most part, some of you guys, call me, email me. Like I said, that's what I'm here for. Call me, email me, text me. You know, if you run into something, like I said, I might not help you within the 5 minutes, but if you run into something and you muscle through it and you're like, did I do the best job? Take a little video of it. Send it to me. I'll send it to the higher ups even, you know, if I need to. And I'll try to find you an answer how you can do better. It's really like, you know how like the first time you cut the lawn and you're like, man, I can do it better next time. I can do it more efficient next time. I can make it look better next time. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And trust me, you do a bad job, you're going to find out because the customer's going to call back with problems. Now, hopefully it's not something devastating, you know, silly phone, internet. Rusty says my daughter's 20. He says she's been doing it with me for 3 years part-time and she can hang into, he says, and doing problem solving. It's all the common sense. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Tony Miller, he says, I love your optimism. He says, but I kind with Rusty. He says, it's very hard to just jump in with both feet without experience and do jobs on your own. I'm saying it wrong. I'm going to call him Jay because I'll say his name wrong. But Jay, if you can, what city and state you're in? I'm just curious. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, it just... Wilson, it says, hello, he says, well, 90% of our work right now is residential repairs and installs. I haven't gotten into gates yet, but get requests for it. Since you only do commercial gates, advice on getting into that? Oh, man, the commercial? Boy, you threw me for a loop right now. I feel like time. You know, we've been really lucky. Plus, it's kind of an easy snag for us. I ain't gonna lie, because we're on a main road for a lot of our commercial people to go by. So it's hard not to see our trucks. It's hard not to see the semis out front when we're loading and unloading stuff. It really, like I said, you know, been doing it for 18 years. 18 years, long time, man. So it takes time. You can always send some letters. You can always, it's really tough to get in a commercial because unless somebody's screwing up or you're just a cheap Joe or something like that, or maybe the change of hands have happened, somebody's moved up in the food chain, it can be difficult, but it can be done. Like I said, but you know, for us, like I said, you know, you kind of got to be there. You want to be there in the phone book, not the phone book anymore, but Google's. I'm joking with the phone book, Google and stuff like that, because sometimes when those people call, right, that's your one shot to kind of go, yeah, we could try to take care of it. And you might not get nowhere that one time. It might take 2, 3, 4, 10 times before you earn their trust or go, you know what, I think we're going to make the switch. Because the hard part for them is you got to get in their system. That's the big thing. You got to get on their, you know, you got to, you know, plus you got to have the insurance. That's why it's really tough, you know. So, I mean, when you're kind of starting out, the residential is kind of the way to go. Otherwise, you got to get the, you know, the $2 to $3 million insurance policies. You got to have, proof of workman's comp, even if it's just you, stuff like that. You got to word it differently. You got to have the insurance. Like I said, you might have to show vehicle insurance and all that. It just takes time. That's why it's like, if you're going to get into it, you got to be really passionate and, take your time. Like I said, just start small, start with the residential, do openers, do garage doors, do gates if you want to. I guess it's one of those things. It's not, you kind of start learning as you get older. Like you look for more of the, right now. Ooh, Tony says, no, I think you should always start out part-time. I wouldn't get rid of your full-time job if you don't have any experience. Yeah, I agree. That's why it's really tough. And like I said, I really truly believe in the market we're in right now. This is absolutely not a good time because we're going into the fall. That's when they'll start putting the bad news in the media and all that kind of stuff. And then we got the elections, and that's going to be, who knows? We might start having the riots again. I don't know. It's like they always come up with something new. And all it takes is those people to start, tightening up on their wallets and going, you know what? I got to buy me a pow pow before I worry about that garage door, because that car still got a payment. That thing can sit outside. People's, they'll do the roast before they do the garage doors. So it's just, you got to be cautious. I'd give it some time, see what next year brings, who wins, if it's going to be a rally, if it's going to be anarchy a little bit, and then kind of move from there. But still, slow and steady wins the race. Because even with me, when I was doing the garage doors, I went into it full time with another guy, my business partner, right? And then the 07, 08 stuff was happening, the crash, I don't want to ever do it again, but I had to work. I worked 3 jobs. A lot of people don't know that. I worked 3 jobs. I worked part-time. I used to be a produce guy at Meijer's, our grocery store locally around here, at 3rd shift. I was working the city at the DPW, doing plowing and, road crew stuff. And then I was also running the business during the day. So in a nutshell, I was funding my business partner at the time so he could work 8 to 5 while I worked the hours. So it was almost like it was weird because my money that I made at nighttime basically paid for him during the day to work the daytime because there was only so much time in the day. And with my commercial customers and just every other customer, I got to the point where I couldn't take care of all these customers. So I needed somebody during the day along with me to take care of these customers. And then it's just kind of starts snowballing from there. You start getting more customers, realize we can't satisfy these customers, and then sometimes you could go too far where I went, where it was like, I had 7 guys underneath me and it was like, this is nuts. And it was just craziness. And we were going way too far. The travel was ridiculous. And things, just all kinds of things start happening. You get theft, you get vehicles, fuel cards that are being misused. There's just a ton of things that can go balonky, Wilson, he said, I'm at Black Windows. He says, Venomous Spears. Ooh. Black Widows. Got it. Thank you, Wilson, for that. Venomous. Okay. Thank you. I kept thinking Black Windows. I was down in Arizona. I remember we tinted my mom's place one time, so the sun wouldn't come beating in. And I'm thinking, is that what he's talking about? Black Windows? I probably read it wrong. Rich B says, I've always documented the job. The job makes the time, or the next time. He says, you get called, you know what you're going to expect. Spring size. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, I see Tony or Tanner's in there. I jumped though. Texas document. Rusty says, great advice, Rich. He says, have any TorqueMaster conversion list, different weights and sizes. Ooh, the TorqueMaster. Sorry, Black Windows, spiders, Black Widows. Sorry, I'm saying windows again, like a dum-dum. Like I said, it was probably me. My son-in-law jumped into the pressure washing, but all this nice equipment, he is having trouble competing because of chemical cost. Is so I'm glad Toddy. It's getting late. I need a Toddy. I'm glad Tony brought that up. Do. Look at Tanner. He says, "Sorry guys, long day. 24 likes. Dave's on fire." We're happy to have Mr. Tanner in the house. What's up, Tanner? Come on, guys, hit that 30. Holy cow! Well, we're shooting for the stars here. 30 likes. Dang, man, I don't know about that. I don't know if Uncle Dave will stay awake long enough for that. National Today, watched you in a customer's garage. Watched you in a customer's garage. What do you mean you watched me in a customer's garage? What you got? What you got? Rich B says HVAC is hard on the body. 28 residential, 14 commercial. Yeah, man, it's some of those guys, the places they had to crawl and stuff. I watch those guys for air conditioning, running the lines. It's normally younger guys, but my hat's off to them. You know, like I said, they normally get paid, better. It was always a weird thing. I always remember my buddy before he passed. He always would tell me, he'd always say, he goes, I don't understand. He goes, people have no problem paying the heating bill, or not the heat bill, but the HVAC guy. The heat guy or the cooling guy. He says, but when it comes to the garage door, blah, blah, they act like it's kind of, I really got to pay that bill, but it is kind of weird. It's like, it does seem like the heating people, right? Heating and cooling, HVAC, they get the more seniority, you know what I mean? Like, because I gotta have my heat, because how many, we all have parents and stuff. Somebody, in their family, right? The hot water tank quit working. Oh man, and you gotta figure it out. Or the furnace stopped working. You don't want them to freeze. Tanner says, just got home, lots of service work, and loaded up. He says, 7:14. Oh my gosh, took them to the job for tomorrow. Damn, Tanner. Damn, I used to do that a lot. Maybe I'll show some pictures sometimes in one of the videos, man. I had a lot of my kids in the background. Some of them, not a lot of them, but some of them. I know exactly how that is, man. I've taken truckloads out of here because I can't fit them all on a truck and trailers. So I got to make like multiple loads. That's tough, man. My hat is off to you because I've been there. I've done a lot of that. Then you're like wiped out for tomorrow. You like show up all. The guys are all bright and bushy tail. What are we doing? What's the deal? And you're like, can I just go home and go to sleep? I want to go home and take a nap. Like, I've been up since 10 o'clock loading this crap. They're like, oh man, shoot, I was up to midnight playing video games. Took them to the job for tomorrow. They had to go and replace a 300 amp fuse. Oh man, and my scissor lift battery. Oh man, and got those charging for tomorrow. Oh man, dude, I know that feeling. I remember I sent the guys out with the scissor lift, and I found out, just so you kind of know, maybe some of them, they're probably not all the same, but it was like I needed a golf cart charger to charge the batteries on the scissor lift, and for whatever reason, the darn thing malfunctioned. And they were trying everything. I sent them out there solo. A couple guys. They were actually going to a car dealership. I even sent. I think there was like 3 guys I sent out there. It was like overkill. I forget what they were doing. I think they were changing out a spring or something. But it was like, you know what? You guys just go knock this thing out. Get this out of our life. Let's move on. They call me up. Scissor lift's not working. I think it's dead. I'm like, think it's dead. Like, why wasn't it charging? And I think actually just when I got that scissor lift, the charger quit working. It was weird. The batteries were bad. Didn't know that. So there was thousands of dollars, a couple thousand, whatever it was, for some batteries. $1,200, I don't remember. Got the batteries, the charger. I mean, it was like so planned. The darn thing, like 3 weeks later after I put the batteries in, it puked out. I'm like, are you serious? And I had a hell of a time trying to find the right part number for it. And the parts for it. I mean, all the time that I spent looking for the darn thing. I mean, it was amazing. I finally found something I thought was gonna be the right one. And the prices are just all over the place. It's like, oh, this one's for like $200, or this one's for like $2,000. Like, well, I mean, I'll spend $2,000 if it's gonna be like the quality I need it. So you have to go through all these forums and read, and no, it's not this. It's the same manufacturer. It's this. It's made in China. They're all made in China. I got to the point where I was just like, that's why I was like, I'm just taking this darn thing in. And I got to the point where I was like, also why I leased for a while too, because when I leased, I had a problem like that. I call them. I mean, it seemed like 24 hours a day. They come out, like, we'll bring you another one. Thank you. It was like having another mechanic. It was like having another me. So I know exactly the feeling. So anyways, that one goes bad, right? I drive all around freaking towns, multiple towns, looking for this charger that I found one. I call the person, hey, can I get that charger from you? Because I'm just going to hotwire it. This golf cart charger. Oh, sold it. Fudge. Now I got a scissor lift that won't move over there. I got guys stranded. And like I said, it's one of those jobs too far away. It was, probably an hour 15, hour and 30 minutes, one way. Now I gotta get the scissor lift back. So now if I even call a tow truck company, they're going to charge me, I might as well call the one in town. They're going to charge me to go out there the time, charge me to come back. Where are we going to drop it off? Do I want to try to fix it? Do I take it to our repair center that does it? So, man, I feel bad. I guess at least it wasn't hydraulic. A hydraulic leak on brand new concrete. Haven't had that happen yet. I'm sure one day. I've had a little bit of leak. I've had a scissor lift one time here at the shop. Randomly got a spark up my butt, right? The kid was with me. I said, you want to go up in the scissor lift? It was sitting out on the pavement up front here. Yeah. All right. Tricky trick, right? I thought we go up there. I'm waiting for her to squeal. Be like, Dad, this is way too high. So I maxed that puppy out. For whatever reason, that thing quit working. Just quit working. Could not get it down. I had my wife, which my wife, bless her, right? She's crying as she's getting a extension ladder off one of the service trucks because we're trapped. We're up here. Luckily, she was here. She was with us. But we're trapped, man. She had to get the ladder up to us. I mean, I'm like freaking out. Like my kid's going to be absolutely not. I'm not going down this ladder. Because you imagine, how it is if you got a skinny scissor lift, which we had the skinny one. It's got a little sway with the wind and going down a ladder when a kid's, gosh, she was young. I bet she was 5 or 6. You know what I mean? And all these things are going through your head. Oh my gosh. Then it was a nightmare because the mechanism that releases it, the manual, was all locked up. So I had to break it and bypass it to get it to come back down so we can at least transport it somewhere to get fixed. So I've had my fair share. Burned up a motor one time at a very new customer that I was already late for because an employee never showed up. For tomorrow. Rusty says, Tanner, how many guys will you have on this job? How long? Oops, that's a good question. How long to complete? Hey, Tanner, he says, do you ever have problems with those new LiftMaster commercial operators losing limits? Ooh, that's a good one. Peter S. says, do you think you can start out by scheduling all your jobs on one day of the week, like your day off for your normal job, or do you need to be more flexible? Great question. Great. Oh, and by the way, see, we're up to 26. I think somebody said we're going to try to shoot for 30 likes. So if you're new, jumped in, you can hit the like button. We love it. Brings more people. It's awesome. So Peter, I think you can. I mean, I'm surprised. Cap here with the secretaries, they typically run, I think, residential service. On Mondays and Fridays is when they open up is when they schedule. So I think you absolutely can. I think you're going to get some blowback. You're going to get some people that are just going to go, I can't wait. But for people that need an opener or maybe not trapped, you're gonna get some people that you can absolutely do it. I don't see. It's the power of just having. You got to kind of have that thicker skin a little bit. The power of just saying I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Or no. The power of no is so important. You know what I mean? Where you just go, this is when I can do it. If you can't meet it, I understand. And you just basically move on to the next person. You know what I mean? The next person that will fit in your schedule. And you might only get one or two, or maybe only one or three or whatever. But absolutely, you know what I mean. You go to somewhere even if it's maybe even after hours or just on the. See, that's gonna be a little bit hard to me because to me it's like you still need to go kind of like after work or during whatever, not during work, but go there at least evaluate. Where if you go, I'm pretty sure it needs an opener. And they're like, yeah, well, we've had problems with it before, and you're like, why don't I install a new one for you? I could do it next week, Wednesday, and go from there. So yeah, it can all be done. Tony Patrick's son-in-law pivot to window cleaning or add it as a service. Oh yeah, he says he doesn't. He does window cleaning. He's got some contracts with Burger King. Oh sweet. He's getting a lot of business through Yelp. Wow, I'm surprised. I never hear any good thing about Yelp, so that's cool to hear. I hear a lot bad about Yelp. Never good, so it's good to hear a good thing about it. But you have to pay for your leads, which that's something I won't do. Oh, got it. Oh yeah, he's hanging in there. Great, awesome. What's Rusty got? Tony, I tried Yelp and it resulted in no customers. Google is where people search in my area. Yeah, I agree. I don't ever hear anybody say, why don't you check Yelp? I mean, everything's always Google. Check Google. Search Google. Look it on Google. Everything's Google, unfortunately. Says the only bad thing about it is we live in Indiana. He says, which it gets really cold here. Okay, so it's seasonal. Yeah, makes sense. Tony says, yes, Peter, your customers will wait on you. Yeah, like I said, you'll get some. They will. They will. Like I said, Cap, the secretary, they push them to Monday and Friday. That's their windows. That's when they get to do it. Something I've kind of learned, I don't know if some of you guys know this or do this or agree with this, but I've noticed a common trend, right? Fridays, like residential people kind of pick up because either they waited, now they got something over the weekend. Because I've had this happen. I go there and they're like, yeah, it's been broke for 2 weeks. And I'm like, man, really? I come out here and you're all like acting like you're dying. This thing's been broke for 2 weeks. And I could have fit you in, yeah, well, want to get the lawnmower out or want to get the snowblower out or want to get the classic car out or whatever. One thing my buddy told me one time I never thought about, but when you got the weekend, you put in time that most people aren't open, but a lot of people are doing the DIY projects or cutting the grass. A lot of activity going on out there, right? So stuff's breaking. Now, some people have kind of the common sense. Some people don't care. Some people just don't know. They'll call Monday. So that's why it's kind of like the Friday, Monday, where it's like, over the weekend, you get now, boom, Monday kind of gets whammed with sometimes commercial even. The residential will be saturated because, hey, our door broke over the weekend. We're calling you. Can you get us in? Yep, not a problem. That's why Mondays and Fridays are pretty much open for you. Yes, Peter, if customers wait, yes. Tanner's got, Rusty says I'll have 2 guys there and we'll be done by Friday, maybe Saturday. Awesome. Heck yeah, man, rock it out. Peter says, thanks, Tony. Wilson, he thanks for doing this live stream, man. I gotta run. No problem. Like I said, I'll probably give it about 11:15 or so, and I'll boogie out myself so everybody can get to sleep. And I really appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, this is the stuff that always encourages me to do it more. And I love helping you guys. And like I said, if there's anything I can do, email me, text me. I love that, Tony and Rich and all that. I mean, the list goes on. Kevin, Tanner. I mean, I get the emails and stuff for the pictures. And I've been a little occupied, so I haven't gotten to some of these, which I'd like to. So I thought maybe tonight was gonna be kind of slow, dead, but this is fine. I'd rather go through the comments and brainstorm and everything. I love the kind of the rapid fire. So I'll save these for either kind of a personal or maybe another live stream that just kind of goes a little slower. Gotta run. If you're ever in Houston, look me up. Awesome. Pro Lift Garage Doors, Sugarland. Best of luck to y'all. Perfect. It's funny, we just got a Pro Lift up here, one city over. So I'm assuming, I think ProLift is turning into like a franchise, I'm assuming. So I don't think Wilson's on here anymore, but if he is, email me. I'd love to talk to you or text me. Because I'd like to find one of these guys where I can get some like feedback on this. I had a couple precision guys, never got with me, I don't think. I'd like a little more details on some stuff or just stuff that pops up in my head to bounce some ideas or some questions off. So it'd be really cool to see that. So I'm assuming, like I said, with the like, what do you pay, or what if you can give me just a rough, you know. He says, oh yeah, Indy says, glad I live in the Tallahassee, Florida area. He says, I don't have to worry about that. He says, even in winter, it's between 40 and 65 most days, and we probably have more 65 days than 45. Heck yeah, man, that warm weather. Do they generally wait or no? I would say if the customers are gonna wait, it's like a 50-50. You know what I mean? It's not impossible. You gotta motivate them to that. And if they can't do that, their schedule, or they want it done, then you just let them loose and say, well, I'm sorry, that's the only day I got available right now. You don't even have to tell them the reason. Don't even tell them your work, whatever, blah, blah. Just say that's the only time I can fit in my schedule. And you just kind of leave it at that. And if they go, they go. Tanner, he says, Tony, I have not had any problems with keeping the limits. He says, but I have had a problem with the photo eyes. You sometimes have to go in and manually learn the photo eyes. So I just do it every time now. Interesting. That's good to know. Well, Patrick, if you do power washing and I have a house in Ziva Hills, he says, I'll have you come and wash it if you go that far. Tony says, yeah, Tanner, he says, I had to go back to the job and reset limits. Going to hang another one this weekend, and I kind of like the program from the floor. That's interesting. Rusty says, Peter, he says, I get more jobs and can charge higher prices because people don't want to wait. That's true. He said, if your price is low, he says, they're more likely to wait if you put a temporary clamp on it. That is true. That is true. That is true. I like that. Terry says, yeah, take like. Tony says, that's right, Rusty says, I work 24/7, make the most money when people can't wait. Ooh, I like that. Yep, you can't wait after hours. I mean, there was a time I told myself, I was like, I'm just gonna do all after hours. I'm just gonna have all the employees do the normal stuff during the day, and I'm gonna be the after hour guy because, typically I'm gonna be like really on point. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make sure I got my trucks ready to go like a fireman. I'll have just, everything ready to go. I know how to get out of darn near every pickle. And you go to these jobs and you're like, wow, this would be like normally maybe a $200 job. Now it's a $400 job because it's kind of after hours. You're going to pay, but we have had that caveat for us, or that blowback, where it's like, and I guess maybe you don't give them the option, but you tell them, say, well, look, if I come out, that's how you kind of get them out of it. If you don't want to do it, like you tell them, say, look, if I come out, it's like $400. But if I come out and change your spring tomorrow, it's average, from what I've seen in the pictures and everything, it's a $200 job. And sometimes they're like, you know what? I can wait till tomorrow. And you're like, that's what I kind of thought. Yeah, so I've taken a light to the new Maximums. He says they are easy wiring and setting, but I'm curious to see how long they last. Boy, isn't that everybody's question? Boy, it's like if we could just push the fast forward. Peter says, thanks, Rusty. Says Tony says, don't forget to hit the like button. Let's hit 30. It would be nice to hit 30 if we could hit it before we end the live stream. That would be nice. You know what I mean? But I ain't gonna complain. 25, pretty darn good. I'm happy with 25. Says, yeah, Tanner, me too. Sheen, is it Sean? It's Sean. Sean is here. Sean, I think I was talking about your email earlier, wasn't I? I was, Sean. So you might want to go to the beginning. I was talking about your Tommy. Hey, Tanner, do you ever talk with Trevor about the Intivia doors? Dude, Tanner says it was not Trevor. I don't think he gets some who covers my area, but yes, got pricing emailed to me. Oh, and a price book coming. Probably won't sell many. I can't ever say it. Is it Inti? Tony's gonna have to like call me on this. Be like, this is the freaking name of doors. They won't bring them to me. That's kind of interesting. I'm gonna spill the beans a little bit. But Tony was contemplating maybe that they're made by Haas. Those doors through Service Spring. Pretty interesting. But if they're better quality and they're cheaper price, yeah, then I'd probably do them, through the Service Spring ones. I wouldn't, like I said, and I should ask before we drop the live stream. Somebody messaged me. I forget how it was. They said, how would you rank? I think it was Midland, Haas, and Amar in comparison. And I was like, well, Amar's on the bottom. And I thought, that's a good one, though. I don't even think I replied back yet. I kept thinking, I think it was in one of the comments. And I thought Midland against Haas. And I thought, I would like to ask you guys, which one would you say? Would you say Midland's better than Haas, or would you say Haas is better than Midland? My brain tells me Midland's probably better than Haas. But I don't really feel like I could give that a real accurate, I see Sean's emailing me. What's it got? Trevor watched this video yesterday. Noticed door in museum. Erzl never seen as many springs on door. Huh. Tanner, he says, yeah, but once they start getting trucks and the roads, then I'll see about getting some. So Tony and Tanner, are they gonna start getting some trucks to spread out, like some box trucks? Is that the game plan for Service Spring, to start delivering these doors out farther away? I would assume that's what they're gonna start doing. At Ponto Doors. See, there's some new guys. Hit the like button, please. Oh, we're at 26, Tony. We can give it up, like I said. If we hit 30 likes, Dave will throw us a pizza party. Oh, man. I tell you what, Tanner, though. Dude, you got to send me some pictures. I want some pictures of this job. You got 7. Man. Hopefully you got concrete. You got concrete? Tell me you got concrete. You're not doing it on dirt floors, are you? Tony says, yeah, pizza. That's right. We're gonna have a pizza party. You're gonna watch Dave eat pizza. We're gonna call it a party. Tanner, let's make a fake account just to like. I love it. Oh, that's what they told me. Okay, so Tanner says, "Oh yeah, concrete." Like I said, send me some pictures, dude. That's a sweet. Did you get them all over in one shot? I'm curious. Did you get all the load? Like, how did you use the van? Did you use a truck? Did you use a trailer? Did you get enclosed trailer? How'd you get it? Did you get it all over there in one shot? Man, I got some pictures. I do some videos. I'll throw some of those pictures in there. I used to have my 3/4 ton truck, man, just loaded with. I bet people are like, "What in the heck is this dude doing?" You know what I mean? Just one more piece. I just need one more piece. One more piece. It'll fit. I'm just going down the road. Oh, I see it. That's cool. Something came in. Man, it's a lot. But like I said, I can't tell you guys too. One shot. He said he got one shot. Nice. That's awesome. I'll still never forget, man, when I had that F-150, I was like, I don't want that big a truck. Then I bought an F-150. I bought it with what the heck is this Ford, guys? The 4.6. It's a smaller V8. And I thought I was going to blow the transmission out of there. It had 6 guys loaded up in that crew cab. You know, trailer, enclosed trailer. I think it was a 20-foot enclosed trailer I had, loaded with, I think that one had 6 doors in it. I think for the fire department. Of course, the night before we had a blizzard, white knuckles. I got guys in the back. You can go faster. I'm like, I got 6 grown ass men's life in my hands right now. I ain't going that fast. I never drove this truck with this much weight in it, you know, and tools. I mean, the whole bed of the truck. I mean, just everybody's got their tools. Man, I was scared. Make it. Tanner's got says that's what they told me. Just a matter of time. Yeah, concrete. Rusty says, Davey says I have played that one more piece game when I had a half ton. He said, and broke the rear leaf spring. Wow. Shackle. Had to put 57 pounds. The retires drive home. Wow. Wow, man. We've had a van that was older. It broke a leaf spring. I remember it finally like ejected it right here in the shop entrance. I heard it hit the ground. I seen it was broke in between, not the main one obviously, but man, I remember while I turned the corner, I was like ding, 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 ding. I heard it like hit the road. I had to park the van, jump out real quick, run out there, get it before somebody hits it, hurts himself, hits a car or whatever, chunk of leaf spring out there. Yeah, it seems like sometimes you can just never have enough truck. It feels like, sometimes, because until you start hitting where the state boys are looking at you pretty heavy, that they get after you too. All right, guys, we did do 26. I'm so proud of every one of you. Give yourself a pat in the back. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys have anything across the week or anything, don't feel like you're interrupting at any time. Send me an email. Send me a text, 231-720-9675. Otherwise, the email, daveadubson@gmail.com. I typically put it in the description below. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Let's see. I'm going to make a fake account called Garage Door Training School. Like Dave's videos, and ask him to pay me. Have his guys take me training course. Oh my gosh, Tanner. He's all full of spunk. He's got all that adrenaline running from moving doors tonight. I wish I could have been there. That's fun times. I like doing that stuff after hours. I love it. All right, guys, I'm out. We'll see you. Have a good night. Keep your fingers. I got to turn this off somehow. See ya.